You know it's gonna be a good day when the P-trail goes the other way.
That rhymed.
I know, right? I know! That's what makes it even better. It works. It completely works. P went up, no, down. Down is the direction.
Hey Tifa.
What?
Hey Tifa. Do you know why you should stop yawning so much when we play Higurashi?
No.
Because you're making me yawn. I was thinking about that while I was washing my hands before the stream.
Good job.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hello Evie, congrats on being first and second. Impressive, impressive. Tifa, thank you for being here for a 63 stream watch streak.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Thank you. I feel like I've been here more often though.
Yeah, it doesn't always take.
It's like or did it only start 65 streams ago?
There's a couple people that I hang out in their streams regularly, and sometimes I get a message like, watch one more stream and you have a 4-stream watch streak, and I'm like, no, you're lying.
I've been here every stream.
I have not missed any lately. It should be a different number, but what can you do? Twitch got a Twitch. Hello Evie.
I'll take it.
Hello Psycho. Happy Tuesday everybody. How are you all doing? So cute, turkey like this. Yeah, I hate sewing needles now.
You know what's also so cute?
Here
I'm
we
gonna
go,
show
people.
it. Here it comes. You guys will have to look at every creation because I've got no one else to share it with.
This penguin that I still have, that is absolutely adorable because it's a penguin. And it's from Yoshi's Island too. And that's not what Tifa wants to talk about.
Look at it. Now I got one too. I made my own one. It's not the result I want yet, but I got a new like iron thingy for it. And I'm getting close. I'm getting close. It's a big boy. And now I got a coaster too.
What is that thing actually called? I know it's, I want to say
Pants
the first...
boy.
It's the first mini-boss from Yoshi's Island too.
Look at it. It's my coaster now.
First mini-boss Yoshi's Island. What is that thing called?
I remember that guy undressing in front of me.
Yeah,
Wait, what?
spoilers. Yoshi's Island 2, which, no, sorry, Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. The original one. Wait, everybody that played the game will know from this sound. Are you ready, Tifa? Wah, 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 wah. I'll stop now. But you'll hear that for a long time when you're playing. This is Bird the Bashful. That's its name.
That makes sense.
You can look to the left, you can look to the right.
Yeah, it still doesn't really count as a coaster because this one, it has holes in it too. I tried to make it completely flat, but I have turned to the internet and I've been told my beats suck.
Yeah, Tifa went and bought the name brand super expensive ones. And apparently those are like the worst ones you can buy with your money, so...
Well, the worst ones for what I want to do with it.
Good thing that she bought, I want to say $250 worth of beads.
Yeah, I bought a lot of colors.
Yeah.
So that I can do all the things I want. So for what I want to do, which is make a shit ton of coasters with them now, it doesn't work. So I'll have to do other things with it.
Well, what? See, the problem when you pick up this as a hobby is, you'll think, okay, I'll need a couple of those like little bead thingies to make a design, right? And then
You'd be surprised how many of those beads.
And then you look up a design. Like Tifa started, I want to say, the first ones I gave her were those original Pokédex Pokemon thingies. And when you look at them, it's like, okay, I need like 4 different colors for these. None of the ones I have. Okay, I'll go for a different design. Okay, I have 4 of the colors, but I need 2 that I don't have. So in the end, Tifa then looked at a couple designs she wanted to make and just got the beads.
I got like 30 different colors.
For the designs. And if you think about it, 30 colors isn't that much. Like, you perceive more than 30 colors right now. But then you also need more than a few of them, because like this adds up.
Well,
so,
this block is like 260 beads.
Yeah, that's 260. 256, I want to say.
That could be,
Probably. So the thing is, if you buy smaller packages of those, they are more expensive if you do the math than buying the bigger packages. And then there's colors like blue and black and white and red that you'll need more of because those colors are used quite often. And then you end up with, I want to say, 30 pounds of beads in your bedroom in a drawer somewhere.
It's quite a lot. But it just sucks. I can't achieve yet what I want to do. So for now, I'll just make projects that are a bit more pixelated like this until I ran out of these beads, then get the beads I want, and then go for my co-stars.
But since we're on the topic of shaming Tifa,
which story exactly?
If you thought, who would spend 250 bucks on those bead thingies to make these things and then end up with a result that they're not happy with? Of course, the answer is Tifa. But that's not the worst waste of money Tifa has pulled off. Many years ago, Tifa watched, I want to say, one of her earlier TikToks or a short on YouTube. She watched a video.
That was not on TikTok, I can tell you that. That was pre-TikTok.
Pre-TikTok.
Benjima?
Thank you very much for your research. We'll get to the bean in a moment. But Tifa watched a video and it had a person wearing funny shoes. They're called jumping boots?
I think jumping boots, yeah.
Let me Google that. Jumping boots. That's for horses.
Oh, bouncing boots. Bounce jumping boots. It needs both of them.
I think they're called jumping shoes.
Just show them.
I'm trying. What does it look like to you I'm doing right now?
Yeah, then just say, hey, I'm doing that.
I'm trying to
Jack
show it to you.
has a short
penis. What?
I don't
No.
translate that.
No.
Short edge today.
A short edge. What?
You know this thing in, I don't even know what the
Eine kurze Lunte in German.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't know what that is
What's
in
the
English.
thing in English?
It's a thing in a candle. A short wick. I don't think that's an expression that exists outside of German. But
no, that's the same in Dutch.
But Tifa saw a video where somebody was using jumping shoes and Tifa said, that's gonna be the thing. That's gonna be the thing. I need these. I need to buy this. I need to buy this. It's gonna revolutionize my life. Basically, you put them on and because of the feathers underneath them, as you can see, you bounce when you walk. So even just walking takes a lot more energy than normally walking. And you can jog and you can run with them. And it looks really cool. And it's gonna burn, what's the math? Like 25 to 30% more calories while doing the same exercises.
Well, my main reason was that it's also a bit lighter on the knees.
Because
and my knees are shit. And Jack was in the time like, oh, I want to work out so much. I want to go jogging and I want to do this. And I'm like, okay, if we're gonna go jogging, maybe this will help. And maybe it will also make it more fun.
Yes, so Tifa bought these. Lo and behold, she's used them twice. We imported 2 pairs of jumping shoes. How much did you spend, Tifa?
Like 400 bucks.
Each?
No, total. They weren't that expensive.
Including shipping and taxes, like 450 bucks on jumping shoes.
That was the total price.
And we've worn them twice. Twice. And I think after all this time, now we can't even sell them anymore because we've had them for so long that the mechanism, the feather in there, is going brittle.
Well, I've offered to sell them plenty of times.
And I told you to do it.
No, you said you would help. Besides, it's partially your fault we got them too. Like, don't just put this on me.
How is this my fault?
Because you wanted to jog and do things.
Wait, my fault was allowing you to make a choice. I know this sounds toxic as fuck.
Get the
and
beans.
it is. But clearly that was my one mistake there. So, not the worst thing we've wasted money on. But they're not wasted on the beats because she's actually using them.
I am using them.
Slowly but surely. Benjima, happy Tuesday, how are you doing?
Thank you for the sub.
Didn't I just sub bean up, buddies? It feels like we've had beans not too long ago, yeah.
Well, that was for your previous one.
Yeah.
And the notification can be shorter in between.
Who am I to argue with that? How are you? Currently good. One of these is green, I don't know what that means, and the other one is a sausage bean, so let's see how I will be in a moment. No, you're peeking.
Yeah, I don't want a sausage bean.
Pick one. Fuck. Clink me, you animal. Thank you very much for the sausage bean, Benjima.
How are you doing?
Should I call you Beanji, my man?
How are you doing? I want to say how are you doing, mutton art.
Bah. Hello, mutton art.
Fair.
Happy Tuesday. How are you doing? Oh, this one is sweet too.
This
It's
reminds
so
me
disgusting.
a little bit at work.
What?
At the reception, we have 2 big bowls filled with like little pieces of Mentos wrapped individually.
Pieces of Mentos.
Yeah,
Mentos
like
for
one
wiping.
Mentos.
Yeah. So individually wrapped Mentos.
Wrapped Mentos in 2 big bowls with the 2 company names that are in our building. And usually it used to be peppermint and no one really likes that. But at some point they started getting the fruit ones in there too.
Those are delicious.
Those are really good. And those go really fast.
Of course.
But there's like this someone is really evil, the one who orders this, and like mixes them up. Like peppermint and the fruit one. So now there's like this big company game where everyone tries to get the fruit Mentos. And if you get the peppermint one, you lose, because no one likes the peppermint. Like, why is that even a thing? Why is it even ordered? That reminds me of that. I had the fruit one today.
So is it like a lottery or something? Like a good omen, bad omen kind of thing, or what?
Yeah, when you walk past, you just take one and then we all see what we have.
Okay.
And then there's a loser and a winner.
Alright. What if I like both types of Mentos?
There's no liking both. No one likes the peppermint one.
You know what? Okay, grandma meme, that's what I think of anytime Tifa starts a story about how things used to be. Yes.
This is how it currently is,
and
though.
it's your fault things aren't the same anymore. Yes.
This is how it currently is. Okay, Grandma.
I remember when we had the good Mentos at work. The good candy. I'm not gonna tell you that for a long time we also had good candy at work, but then we got rid of that because I guess people spend too much money ordering it.
I mean, it probably cost enough, yeah.
Yeah, I ate quite a bit of it.
Understandable.
Stressed, but what else is new? I hope we can help you de-stress a little bit.
Before you know it, it's gonna be the weekend.
I think that might be part of a problem. If you're trying to get something done on time and then time seems very short.
I mean, that is true. My vacation stress is slowly starting.
Tifa has a thing where sometimes she's trying to say something really nice and uplifting to a person, and in the process says something that makes them feel even worse.
Hi, what did I say?
What I just told you. Until Motonard confirms why he's stressed out, we won't know. But I'm just saying.
But I didn't say anything against it. I said the weekend is almost starting.
While we're streaming, we don't have the time it will take me to explain this to you. Let's carry that part of the conversation on afterwards. It's gonna be one of those days.
It is.
Where were we? Oh yeah, what's with P? You started with that.
But you know it's gonna be a good day if the P moves the other way. Yesterday morning, it was like 7:45. I was sitting in the train to work. And nothing was happening. I was reading my book. I look up and there's a drunk dude who is peeing against the door while the train is standing still at the thingies. Fortunately, no one came in or opened that door because that would have been really awkward.
At a station. In Germany, trains stop at a station usually, not thingies. I'm trying to translate for you. Carry on, yeah?
So the majority of us are just like, watching this dude, enjoying.
No. Choose your next words carefully. We're just watching the dude pissing against the door, enjoying?
Yeah, enjoying the traveling life.
Okay, commuting, yeah. Okay.
Enjoying the commuting life, because this is what happens, especially on a Monday morning, because it was Monday morning. This guy probably was in the club all weekend, came out at Monday morning.
He might think it's still Saturday morning.
Yeah, that could also be. But the best thing is, like, the train started moving and you could see everyone, like, look down, because there was a puddle in the hallway. And that puddle is going to move. And you could already see people, like, move their bags off of the floor, like, anticipating it, like, running down in our direction. But it went the other way.
I'm sorry, but having...
Like, that's the best thing, when it's moving away from
having
you.
a stranger's runaway pee stream hit my bag on my way to work is easily one of the worst experiences you could have in public transport.
The shitty thing is, like, everyone who was standing, sitting near him was obviously watching and could see it and, like, move away.
Even if they didn't look, they could probably hear it, yeah.
Yeah, but the people, like, further in the back, like, didn't.
Fair.
So that ran into people. Like, at some point, never, if you are not used to commuting or you don't commute a lot, anything around a train station, in a train, if it's a liquid...
It's not water.
It's not water.
It's definitely, most likely, not going to be water, no.
Even if it's raining, or it just rained, if there's a puddle, never assume it's water. Ever. Never.
I had to take a call. Is this the train piss story?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It's never water. 99% chance it is not water.
Throughout most of my life, because I've always been a public transport user, I guess is the right term, I've argued the case for public transport many times with my family members who are avid car enjoyers. Let's say it like that. And the thing is, usually public transport, in my experience, is fine. Because everybody has the same goal. Everybody is worried that some weirdo is gonna come into the bus, tram, train, whatever you use, and piss on the floor. So everybody, usually goes in there thinking, oh God, please, let me just get to the place I want to go to. We just put in earbuds or whatever. I don't want to hear the people. I don't want to see the people. I just want to get from point A to point B. And that's exactly how the journey goes. Everybody gets in. Sometimes people get out. And when they arrive at the destination, you leave. But every so often, a story like that happens. It just sticks with you like the liquid under your shoes that you stepped in inadvertently because the urine was rushing towards you on your way.
You just gotta keep an eye on it because you never know.
Yeah.
And don't forget, I spent like 8 hours a week on average in public transport. Interesting things happen.
What I just don't get, and maybe never will if any of you have theories, I'm happy to hear them. I want to say there's two types of people that use public transport. The people that just are normal, regular people and they use public transport. Those are the people I just described earlier. And then there's the people that believe they own the world. And I don't know why. Those are the people that put their feet with their dirty shoes usually on the opposite side on the seats, that blast loud music, that come with larger groups, that are hollering and annoying everybody, being way too loud. The people that pick fights with other people randomly for absolutely no reason other than them being bored assholes.
Oh, the amount of times I've gotten hit, punched, gotten into fights in public transport, it's not even funny.
But why? Why can't we all be Group A? Let's just get to where we want to get. together.
It's not how it works.
If everybody minds their own business, everybody is taken care for, and we will all get there faster.
That's not how a society works.
Worst thing about public transport is when someone there has left a bottle on the floor and it rolls to you. And now you feel like everyone thinks it's yours, but it's not.
Yes, or like when you sit on a seat, but there's already like trash laying on the side, or it's just like dirty in general.
Sits next to you and looks at the trash, looks at you, looks at the trash, and
Yeah,
gives
it's
you
like-
the look like, you're a piece of shit.
It's like, dude, you've probably been in a train before. There's such a high chance this is not me. But you will get judged for it because you're sitting there and they didn't see anyone else drop the trash.
Why didn't you put it away?
I fully get that 100%.
I actually want to talk about this one, so more than that, it's absolutely beautiful that you're bringing this one up. Did you guys see the story about the American in Italy who decided, instead of taking a 40-minute, 30-euro train across the country, decided to get mad about an hour and 20-minute Uber ride that would have cost nearly 400 euros? Yes, I have. Yes,
I have not. I guess if you're not used to the European railways, though.
Wait. Don't put the horse behind the carriage. So, this is the video. This person films themselves talking about, I think they're going to Milan and they want to go up to Lake Como, which is slightly north of where they will stay. And they explain because they've been to Miami and they went to Boca, I think is mentioned. I don't know the place.
I know Miami. That's it.
That's roughly an hour journey, and they've taken an Uber before there, and that cost about, what was it, 120 bucks. Hour ride, 120 bucks. So they were thinking, okay, this is the first time I've come to Italy. I don't know anything. I'll just get an Uber and go visit Lake Como. And they look it up and the journey is like an hour 20, hour 15, something like this. And it cost 383 euros something.
But wait, did he
so
take it?
So about 400 bucks.
You see the price before you book an Uber.
No, they didn't.
But you do here. We booked Uber before. You have to confirm.
No, they didn't actually take the car. They were showing the screen.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, did he actually take it? Because it's a bit weird to complain about the price after.
No.
Okay.
And now everybody that knows a few things about traveling in Europe will tell you, why don't you just take the train? Because Europe has a really good rail network for passenger trains. You can get anywhere by train. Case in point,
some countries can be expensive.
And on Saturday, we'll be taking a train from Germany, where we live, to the Netherlands, all the way, where her family lives. And we'll probably take the train there too. But you need to know this. Because I saw the video too and I was like, ha ha ha, stupid American. But then I thought to myself, a while ago, I want to say last year, I was going through like bucket list things to do. And just because, you know, every now and then I reassess my priorities.
You've never talked about a bucket list, though? Like, isn't the point also doing them?
Yeah, that's kind of a point anyway. So I was looking at going to Japan. I was also looking at going to the US to travel the whole thing.
Everything hates me today.
If I need to fly for like 10, 12, 13, 15 hours, whatever it is, I want to see everything. So when I will travel to the USA, I'll probably do like Canada, like coast to coast, and then like the US coast to coast, and then I fly back, and then I probably never do that again. So if I go there, I want to see everything. But because of that, I looked up how to get around the US.
Both of us don't have a license.
No, exactly.
I keep telling you you should, but...
No, you should. And trust me, we are both not good. We would not be good drivers. But the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm German. I've never lived anywhere but inside Europe. And I'm used to public transport being readily available, and we complain about costs and stuff, but you can pay for it. You can do it if you don't have a car.
I think Germany is doable. Like, the Netherlands is expensive when it comes to public transport. There's no reason no one wants to take it.
But I was looking at the US rail network and I was shocked because there isn't much. It's a couple lines. And that's like almost a whole continent worth of country. So there's comparatively little trains. If you look up the European railway network, it looks like a spider web. It's everywhere. If you look at the US one, it's not that much. And when I was looking at the routes and the prices, and it's as expensive as it can be over here, and it takes forever because it's huge stretches of land. That shocked me. I knew America is big, but still,
sometimes it's easy to forget how big exactly.
Yeah, but if I tell you, oh yeah, we'll be in this train for 4 days, I would expect to go around the world. But it makes sense if you think about it. So I want to say, the same way this person looked up an Uber out of instinct, because in the US you just take a car everywhere, I instinctively looked up train travel. And we both hit the same roadblock. Like, that's just not how it works here. I mean, they could have just taken the Uber for 400 bucks and back, making it 800, which is really expensive.
I'm sure that's even one way.
But if you're not familiar with public transport, with being able to take a train, you wouldn't even think twice about it. I hope that in the always very nice comment sections under videos like this, all of my fellow very nice Europeans kindly informed this person, hey, by the way, you can probably just take a train. If you book it right now, it's probably like 40
well, the
bucks.
best thing you can do if you go on a vacation somewhere completely new, just do a little bit of research, I guess. Like how to get around. Like, what do I take? How do I get somewhere?
Yeah, but...
It helps to do it beforehand.
But where do you start and where do you end your research?
Before you go on a vacation. And while you're at a vacation.
No, what do you all look up? If this is the hen-egg problem. How do you ask for things you don't know about if you don't know that they exist?
How do I get from Milan to Lake Como?
That's a very good way of asking that. I'm pretty sure if they had Googled that, they would have found a way better answer than a very expensive car trip.
I'm not shitting on the guy, it's just like, I think it would definitely help. Best ways to travel in Italy. There
Google,
you go,
YouTube.
also have it.
Tick OTK. Yep. Tick of the Kingdom, the new Zelda game. It's like Tears of the Kingdom, but... Wait, I did it twice. It's fine, we get it, it's TikTok. Ultimately, answer, yes, I've seen the video. I was laughing my ass off because why would you even think about that? Then I thought, holy shit, Uber is freaking expensive because 400 bucks for 1 hour of driving is disgusting.
Italy is also a bit expensive though.
Italy isn't the cheapest European country, but 400 bucks for 1 hour of driving.
I'm not even sure how much that would cost here. We've only taken an Uber once.
At peak time on New Year's
Eve
morning,
yeah.
Technically. New Year's Eve, New Year's morning, yeah. And then the journey that would normally, I looked it up a few days before, but it was supposed to be like 15 bucks. That night it was 60. So the price quadrupled.
Which makes sense on New Year's Eve, I want to say.
I still think it's scummy, but yes.
I mean...
More demand, more price, right?
And less people working, don't forget.
Yeah, that too. So I don't know, is that an Uber issue, being hella expensive? But
I also think that depends on the country.
400 bucks is a lot, and nobody should spend that for an hour of travel, unless you go in style. Like if I pay 400 bucks for an hour traveling anywhere, I expect a back and foot massage, and food, and drinks.
I also want to say Uber in America is probably a whole lot cheaper too, because like different rules applies. Like here, they get provided a car to drive with.
Mm-hmm.
Like they all drive in actual Uber cars that are quite modern. And from what I understood in America, a lot of people have to drive with like their own car.
Yeah.
There's like this star rating system.
You have that rating system here too.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
That's not for the car, that's for the driver.
Yeah, but it helps if you then also have a nice car, I want to say. But from as far as I'm aware, they have to provide their own car, pay their own gas, and then the costs also go from that. And in general, it's a little bit cheaper, I believe, because of all those things. It's not nicer for the driver, but...
Yeah.
So I want to say it depends on the country.
I guess ultimately I hope that if they went through with actually booking that thing for 400 bucks, which again, is that most of the money actually went to the driver. Because then at least we can argue that it didn't go to a shitty company. You know what I mean?
If you get that money, For an hourly rate?
If you will
Like,
pay
holy
me
shit.
400
I'll get
bucks
my
to
license
drive
tomorrow.
you back and forth a distance of an hour, I will get a license. I will start being your chauffeur.
I'll do the test tomorrow.
Yes.
I still remember some things from when I actually tried to go for a motorcycle license.
How to get out of a roundabout?
Yeah, that I'll probably feel. That I might be better in a car. I know it's scary on a bike.
Please don't ever ride a motorbike. Those are dangerous. Bristol London is around 200 and that's over 2 hours. Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so that is already cheaper.
Can I look up a... I put in Uber in Chrome and the first thing it puts me into is Uber Eats. Yeah, I know I like to order food. Come on, I want the cars though. Let me look up a journey that is also around about an hour in Germany. Let's do Nuremberg to Munich. That's in the south. Munich is also one of the more expensive cities. One of the most expensive cities, actually. Please log in. Sure.
You're not going to see that without logging. Mine goes to Uber Eats as well. Well, we also never go to the Uber site.
Yes, you get to see my data. Oh my god. I need to make an account, yeah. It's not worth it. I do not have an Uber account. I've used them once. Sorry. Can't look it up for you.
Probably.
Now I feel like ordering food.
You still have a piece of cake in the kitchen.
That's true. Talking about food, Tifa. What happened the last time we played Higurashi? When They Cry. Chapter 1. Onikakushi.
That's a good question. I'm not even sure where to start.
At the beginning is usually good.
We were feeling a bit sickish.
No, we didn't.
Isn't that how it started?
No.
Well, then I don't
not even close.
Then I don't even remember where it started.
The episode started with Keiichi being like,
sickish.
Since Reina listened in on my conversation yesterday, I don't know how I feel about going to school today. So maybe I shouldn't. Also, I'm not feeling well. It could be the stress, it could be the fact that I barely slept because I had multiple panic attacks at night. But I'm not feeling well.
I like how I started with feeling sickish and then you go like no, and then you start with oh, he wasn't feeling well.
Carry on.
What's the difference?
Carry on.
What's the difference?
Carry on.
So, we weren't feeling well in the morning. And our mom was like, oh, you need to go to school. And we were like, nah, I don't think I want to. And our mom was giving us the option. Then Reina actually came to pick us up, even though we had the awkward knowing she listened to us.
Yeah, Reina, being super sweet and never problematic at all, figured, hey, he isn't at the usual spot where I pick him up, so I'll just go to his house.
Her mom, though, was nice enough to tell Reina off and said, hey, not feeling too well.
Tell her off.
Yeah, to tell her shoo, go away.
She kindly told her we're not feeling too well and we wouldn't be coming to school.
So we actually took a bit of a nap. After we woke up, there was a note from our mom like, hey, go to the hospital for whatever reason.
Because you're sick.
It seemed a bit much.
Apparently that's the thing. And we've talked about this. Apparently in Japan, when you're not feeling well, you just go to a hospital.
I think it's more of a village thing, but we had that conversation. We went to the hospital because we're good kids. While we were waiting in the waiting room, we heard some older people talk about the curse in the city and about the missing nurse. I forgot her name, but they mentioned her name.
Mio, I believe.
That could be.
It's been mentioned multiple times. I believe her name was Mio.
So we learned a little bit about that. Went to the doctor, it's like nothing serious. We went home, all good. And on the way home, we ran into...
We got honked at multiple times.
Mr. Detective-sama,
Ooishi-san.
Who was like, hey, are you Nami? Do you want lunch? And we were like, yeah, let's have lunch. And we went to a completely different village because we didn't want to eat here.
We went to the city.
What was the name of the... it doesn't matter.
It wasn't mentioned.
We went to a maid cafe.
Oh, Hooters.
We believe it's a maid cafe.
That was not supposed to be a Hooters hand motion. It was like one or the other, we didn't know.
Where Oishi-kun was updating us about the case, about the history, of what has all happened, about our friends being involved with all of the missing person murder cases.
Basically, every one of our schoolmates, the 4 girls, is somehow connected to the things that have happened. Mion was actually one of the people
Fighting against the dam
bullying the dam construction worker that died first, whatever exactly she did. Satoko was actually affected twice because her parents were in the car that drove off the street.
No, Rika. Rika's parents died.
No, Satoko's. Satoko's parents died in the car accident where they fell off the bridge into the river. Then she got moved with her uncle and aunt. Then they also died / disappeared. And her, was it cousin or whatever? Was transferred away. Her cousin, nephew, brother, whatever it is, actually being Satoshi Hojo. That's the family relation. Rika's parents were the shrine priest and his wife.
Yeah, but wasn't she then adopted by...
Satoko. No.
I thought Rika, after the shrine priest and his wife died, which were her parents, was moved into this other family.
There were 4 murders and we were like, okay, but ultimately that means Reina is not part of this, right? Because in the 4 cases, Satoko was affected twice, which really, really freaking sucks. But hey...
And Reina only just moved here, like
exactly.
a year ago.
That's Reina, right? She's clear. And she's worried too about getting Onikakushi.
But that was also not fully the case, because Reina actually lived in Hinamizawa and moved away when she was younger. I forgot what the reasoning was.
We don't know why they left, but we know they came back after. Reina destroyed every single window at her old school.
She got suspended
and acted really, really weird, talking about him, Oyashiro-sama.
True.
That's when the family moved back to Hinamizawa. So all of them are connected to all of this somehow. Both Rika and Satoko lost their parents, yes.
True. It's so cute.
Yeah,
so of course
definitely.
we were very shocked about all of this, because this means everyone is connected. They all are somehow messed up with this. We had a bit more of conversation, and afterwards Ooishi-san dropped us off home, or near
Super
home.
stealthily.
Yeah, so that no one would find out. It was still during class hours anyway.
Yeah.
So we still chilled at home for a bit, trying to process everything. When
Took another nap or something.
When Mion called and was like, "Hey, are you home? I'm gonna drop by."
Yeah, we missed you today at school. Are you alive? We're like, yeah, no, sorry, we're kind of feeling sick.
So we said it's fine. Mion came, took
We
Reina
didn't say
along.
anything.
We
She
said
was like,
she can come.
oh yeah, true. She was like, oh,
Yeah, so we did say something, didn't we?
she was like, oh, I'll come over. Oh, and Reina is fine too. We're too stupid to catch your call.
No, she only mentioned
Click.
Reina after we said it's fine.
Yeah.
Because then she was like, oh, I'll be there in a moment with Reina in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So they came, we opened the door. It all seemed like kind of fine. Mion mentioned that her grandmother made some mochi and she wanted to share it with us.
And Reina made us one too.
So she gave it to us and they were like, oh, there's a game. We put letters on them. Let's see if you can figure out which one is Reina.
Today's club activity will be you have to figure out which one Reina made.
So it was all very sweet until they started asking us how our lunch with Oishi-kun was,
No,
basically.
They didn't suddenly ask how was
I'm
lunch.
giving the
They
summary.
went, how was your lunch, Keiichi-kun? What did you have? Was it good? What did you talk about? Yeah.
Basically, they knew everything. It was really creepy.
Do they know everything, or do they know that we went out with Ooishi-san?
I think they know we went out with him, they know who he is, and they probably suspect exactly what we've been talking about. Because we also dropped the fact like, oh, we weren't talking about you, and then they were like, oh, but we didn't even mention
What did you
that.
talk about? Oh, I
How
certainly
weird.
didn't talk about you, Mion, or you, Reina. I would never. Okay.
So we kind of gave ourselves away there. We then got threatened that we better show up at work.
At work.
What is it, my boss?
Uh-huh.
No. We got threatened that we better show up at school tomorrow, or else.
We didn't just get threatened. They were like, oh, hope you feel better, bye. They left, and Keiichi, being so freaking startled, which is completely relatable if you ask me, didn't even have the ability to move to close the door behind them. As the door was swinging shut, he like looked, and suddenly Mion went like, looking forward to seeing you at school tomorrow. And then he shut himself again, as I would have.
And for some reason, we just... Like, it was weird, but we kind of talked this into blaming ourselves.
Nah, Keiichi had a full-on mental, like, breakdown, being like...
Yeah, and then he talked it all right.
Keiichi went through trying to process this.
Yeah, and
like,
then the process made it seem like, oh,
yes.
This is all my fault.
Yes, he started to blame himself for how they were acting. He was like, well, I betray their trust, I do these things behind their backs, so that's on me, and I just interpret these things. Basically, he was gaslighting himself into being the reason why things are that way, because he just couldn't accept that Mion and Reina are sus AF.
So we went to eat our mochi, of course.
Yes, of course.
Nothing going on with
what
that.
else would you do if you just were given a basket of mochi?
We actually managed to see which one was Reina's because of a slight difference in how the rest looked. 4 or 5 were from Mion's grandmother, 1 was Reina's.
4 from the grandma, 1 from Reina.
We tried the grandmother's one first, all
Was it
good,
delicious?
tasty, delicious. Then we tried Reina's, all good and delicious, until we found a fucking needle in it.
Yeah, and then Keiichi is like, oh yeah, wait, there's something sharp in this, there's a stinging sensation. I reached into it and instinctively threw the rest of the mochi against the wall, all of them. It felt like it's a sewing needle. Look, it's a sewing needle. Oh no, Reina, so funny, it's a sewing needle.
Yeah,
what a
after that
mess.
it's when he
It's
started to talk everything right,
it's
because it's like...
No, that happened before that.
Because then it was like, oh, this is my fault, because I'm against... I was against him.
No, you're mixing that up.
Well,
that was before
regardless.
that. He gaslit himself into blaming himself when the sewing needle thing happened, and that's when he broke out of his own mind brokenness. And I was like,
He still didn't fully blame them, though.
it's hard to like process. Keiichi threw the mochi on the wall like Jack doing prediction, basically.
My fault, I looked like I had an iron deficiency.
Kind of.
Basically. Also,
Kind
Dark
of.
Lord, how you doing?
Happy Tuesday.
So yeah, that's basically it. And now I'm guessing we're gonna be at the point where we have to go to school, which is gonna be a lot of fun.
But I think the
Oh, and our parents weren't there.
I think the chronology matters here. They came over, they did the creepy shit. Keiichi broke down, beginning to blame himself, even going so far as to say all the people that died and vanished, they deserved it, because they were against Hinamizawa. Clearly, how could you not love this place? How could you not just let everything happen? It's their fault, and everything is fine, because how could my friends ever be implicated in anything as horrible as all of this?
Aren't I one of them? Like,
Exactly.
I shouldn't be going against them. I
He
should
was
not
gassing
be talking
himself
with the
up
detective.
to have this just become normal.
It's still weird though.
Then he ate the needle, freaked out, as is completely understandable if you ask me. And that's when he realized, oh shit, this ain't good. And then he went to bed,
And that's where we are.
trying to sleep this off.
Can I press the button?
No, because you'll press the wrong ones.
You mean the wrong ones.
How you doing, Dark Lord? I'm
Good.
now awake. Nice. It's the best way to experience Higurashi.
I agree.
Yeah. Blip. Welcome to chapter 10. And now finally the buzzing of the cicadas and stuff is gone. Oh, we also did not look at the tips yesterday.
Oh yeah, true. We
Sunday.
got 1 or 2.
There be
even.
2 tips on it. Just the tips.
What's a drug that makes you commit suicide? Okay, that's been something the detective has been talking about.
True, we did talk about this with Oishi because Keiichi was like, yeah, it's like in those stupid movies where they like give you a drug that you can't trace that makes you do weird things. And then he's like, yeah, that's a thing, it's called so and so. But we didn't find that. Okay.
Well, you can tell this is in the detective's office by the little book. So at least we know this is now probably them talking.
I don't see a little
amongst...
book, I see a big man. What?
For real?
No, I don't think he's a furry.
Read your line.
Let's cut to the chase. Is there a drug that causes someone to kill themselves?
Not directly, no.
That's quite a roundabout response. I mean, but there's one that does it indirectly.
It's possible to induce a suicidal mental state, is what I mean.
Why is he smiling? Why is he smiling saying these things?
Because they're in a professional environment talking about this.
Ah, yes. Professionally talking about... Oh, yeah.
Hey, and sometimes that's just a mechanism. I smile, laugh at the craziest shit
Yeah,
when I'm stressed.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I guess he's mentally detached. I think you have to be to do his job, but that's hard to say. What would the suicidal mental state be?
Like a person with a serious bipolar disorder. It's believed that people are most likely to attempt suicide when swinging from depression to mania.
From depression to mania? I would have thought it would be on the down, like from mania to depression. Huh. Is this scientifically accurate?
Depression to mania makes sense.
I always figured that when you go into your manic state, you become more energetic, more gung-ho, more...
Yeah, but if you drag the feelings from your depression along and then you get moved to actually do things and go into the feelings you had from your depression, it makes more sense to then act on it in your manic states. But I don't know enough about bipolar.
Yeah,
but I can imagine the swap makes sense.
If you're not scared enough, yeah, I guess. Clinical depression and bipolar disorder are different. Clinical depression indicates a prolonged state of depression, whereas bipolar disorder is characterized by a passive depressed state accompanied by a very active manic state.
Individuals with clinical depression suffer from low self-esteem and are quite pessimistic, but rarely commit suicide. They don't have the willpower to commit suicide. Nor does mania on its own lead to suicide. That has an opposite effect, filling the person with confidence and making them feel as though they're walking on air. Thus, they do not commit suicide.
That's interesting. Neither state causes suicide, but when the condition changes, they might do so.
There is a desire to commit suicide when in a state of depression, but they do not have the willpower to commit such a formidable act. But when they enter mania, they gain a burst of willpower and their body moves as they desire.
Like
that's basically...
worst of both worlds in that moment. I see. So it means they gain the willpower to commit suicide.
That's how it goes. That's why patients are given sedatives during that time to keep them from acting on their impulses.
I love how you had the right pronunciation as the second to last one. But
was it sedatives?
Yes, but when you still went with the wrong one.
Oh, the sedatives seemed like the wrong one and sedatives seemed like the better one, so I went for that one. Like sometimes you just go for what sounds better. That's what I do in German too. It's like the der, die, das, dem, der, die. And just go...
What?
This sounds like a der, and it sounds like a dame. And if you speak fast enough, no one notices.
Said I give, said I take. Then was Tomitake bipolar?
People who suffer from bipolar disorder generally commit suicide by more civilized means, like say hanging or jumping off a building.
I never really thought about this, but are those really considered more civilized?
I mean, the civilized part is a bit more of the normal way. Like, how often do you hear of someone clawing out their own throat?
Oh, in that sense. Okay, yeah, I guess. All right.
It's not like civilized, like, Oh, pinky side up when I fall down, you know what I mean?
Tea and crumpets of a side of suicide, my dear.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think we're talking about that sort of civilized. Das, wieso, weshalb, warum, wer die fragt, bleibt dumm.
No. Das, wieso, weshalb, warum.
That's a song.
Wer nicht fragt, bleibt dumm.
That's
That's from
a
the
song.
German kids show. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you guys need songs about this, and still no one gets it.
Well, if our kids can get it, why don't you?
Do you know how many Germans are not even fluent in their own language?
They're fluent, but fluently wrong.
Yeah. Hey.
Like my dad.
Yeah, like me as well. I once had a German teacher assigned to me through work to, improve my German. And we had like this first introduction talk, and I felt like my German was fine enough. Like I could have conversations. I wasn't the fastest yet, but I could have a talk. I understood most. And then afterwards she was like, "Oh, you speak fluent German, but fluently wrong." It's like, you're not fixing that.
Fuck German, no one needs Goethe. Yeah, basically. But, well, we did have meth-induced eye gouging already. That is true.
Yes, that's true. Blah, blah. Self-harm, as though going through withdrawal, is completely different.
Mitake's death wasn't civilized. Someone would think it was caused by some foreign substance. As I said from the start, tell me of a drug that causes someone to commit suicide.
There are reports that
Methamphetamines.
Methamphetamines overdoses produce a condition that resembles bipolar disorder. It's a stimulant.
Oh, is that when you do the drugs and then it forces your body to eject all of the what? No, it makes your body release all the happy stuff. I forgot the name. The substance in your brain that makes you go, oh, that's nice. Not adrenaline, but
I can't think of it.
Serotonin. Thank you. That's it. Serotonin. So you're in the state of bliss, but because your body uses up all the serotonin it's saved everywhere in your body, afterwards you are in a state of meth-induced depression because you are physically incapable of feeling happiness. Your brain cannot feel anything like that because you have no serotonin.
I guess it's a bit like that.
Basically, just don't do that stuff if you want to avoid those things.
Yeah, stay away from meth.
Yeah. And meth destroys your teeth, organs, and ability to feel pain. Destroying the ability to feel pain would work with the ability or with being able to claw your own throat out.
That is true.
I would imagine the sheer pain of that would stop you, but let's find out. Barbiturates.
I was actually going to say that, funnily enough. Barbiturate overdose are also reported to cause erratic behavior. That's a sleep aid.
There were no signs of stimulants. Are there any other possibilities?
All I can think of is some sort of illness. Something like Graves' disease, which affects the thyroid and is known to cause symptoms that resemble bipolar disorder. But Graves' disease has many characteristics. I can't speak
Characteristics.
Today. Characteristics.
No.
I
Do
can't
the line
speak today.
over.
Symptoms of its own. There's no need.
I'm asking you to.
But Graves' disease has many characteristic symptoms of its own. There you go.
Thank you.
The diseased exhibited none of them.
Deceased.
Can we stop?
There is no sick person. I wonder, is there something that could happen more spontaneously? Something that fits this case and would cause someone want to commit suicide all of a sudden?
Are you familiar with organic mental disorders? In short, it's a condition where the brain is out of whack due to physical injury or illness. It can be caused by drugs, but it can also be caused by physical trauma, encephalist, a stroke, or even tumors. Yeah, I have the foreigner right.
This is what I'm gonna put into my job title. Encephalitis. Encephalitis.
Yeah, I don't...
Yeah, neither do I. I'm trying to help you.
You don't need to help.
Asterisk character. Yes. Graves' disease makes your eyes bulge out like Steve Buscemi or Peter Lorre. Oh, I did not know that.
Is that actually a part of it? I just thought that was genetics.
Yeah, same. Good to know. Encephalitis is inflammation of the brain. We could know this after having played Trauma Team. Basically, even without a drug, one can succumb to an irregular mental state.
The deceased was surrounded after being chased and his life was in danger, right? All that stress could have messed with his brain chemistry. He could have hit his head, and those factors combined might have caused him to mutilate himself. It's a possibility.
Could you explain it to me in simpler terms?
Basically, he knocked his knocking in the brawl, and that made him go haywire.
Guess this means the assassins didn't have any intent to kill. They smacked him hoping to nick some change and just happened to hit a bad place. The two plump men laughed hoarsely. But of course, it's not like that.
Undoubtedly. Whether it was habitual drug use or something mental, the disease background holds the key. How's your investigation going?
Oh my goodness, look at the time. I need to go back soon or Kuma-chan will get angry with me. He has a bear.
Good luck. Best wishes.
Best wishes.
You've never said goodbye to someone. Best wishes.
Is this common knowledge or are you all doctors? I want to say some of these terms I've heard before in my life. Most recently during Trauma Team, actually. I'm pretty sure we had to treat encephalitis at some point.
Well, I've never heard of these words, so I'll take it.
Ich bin klug. I'm smart. All that. Some people just know certain things. Time for Fred. Oh god, he's back. Huh? Those guys just know.
I think that's a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you. I have to play like 6 girls too when you have one guy. Like, no, you're not.
Yes, and I have to read 90% of the text being Keiichi.
So? If I read the text, all you do is complain.
Just give me less reason to.
Yeah, then just don't complain.
Come on,
and
help
I'll do
out,
it.
please.
Fine, but if you complain, I stop.
That's so hard. Can I leave for one you read? I'll be outside. Let me. Somebody please hit me up on Discord or something when she's done.
They had national diet badges.
And it's prefectural assembly member Sonozaki and city councilor Sonozaki. Wait.
What are we even talking about? What was the tip?
Mion's family members are important. One is a city councillor and the other one is a prefectural assembly member.
Well, we already know her family was big.
Yeah, but now we know, like, last time we also talked about the police apparently trying to, at very least, hinder investigations into this. So...
Yeah, because of big influences.
Yes, exactly. Now we've got more details. What?
Yeah, I'm not saying anything. It's just a connection I feel like we already made.
I didn't. Maybe you don't want to watch the anime before we play the game so that it doesn't all look like old info to you.
I'm not sure if I know that from the anime or not.
Well, you didn't know encephalitis.
Not sure.
In America,
Probably wasn't in the anime.
I haven't seen it, I couldn't tell you. In America, they love teaching kids about drugs, so you know not to do them. That makes sense.
I mean, I do remember when we, in our last year in mid-school, when you're like 9, a police officer comes to teach you about drugs and shows you some pills and weeds.
When you're 9?
Yeah.
Okay. Seems
9, 10, that's like your last
young.
year in mid-school. Before you go into high, that's before you go into high school.
Dutch high school is different.
Isn't it around the same year?
I don't know.
I mean, I was 10. No, 11. I was actually 11. I'm born late in the year, which means I go into the next year class, basically. But you're like 10, 11 when you go into high school.
We've, I think, talked about this before, how like different countries have very different school systems. So,
but in high school is where they offer you the drugs, so it makes sense that you learn it.
So at 9 they teach you what drugs are, so that when you're 10, 6 weeks later you know to avoid them.
Yeah, exactly. Like in high school, the parties start. You want to be cool.
You just said you enter high school at 11.
Yeah. You try to be cool, you sneak into parties, you try to get into a bar, you do all of these things.
Can you tell that I didn't do any of these things, but I've lived a very sheltered early life, in a way? I wouldn't know. I don't think at 11 I ever felt like going to a party that wasn't a birthday party.
You enter an environment where you're more likely to encounter drugs. So it makes sense to already get it before. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Dutch 11-year-olds party hard. Prefecture like a county or province or canton. Thank you very much. Netherlands are much more open about drugs. Drugs don't exist in Germany.
Hey, it does since the 1st of April.
Only that was the case.
Which is also really funny, by the way. My colleagues were talking about that. Like at the 1st of April, you had places all over Germany where people collected and started smoking weed.
Mm-hmm.
But
at midnight on the 1st, when it became legal to smoke weed.
The funny thing, only starting then was it legal to grow plants. So
yeah,
all
so
of the weed smoked.
Where did you get a magical plant that in an instant grew in your pocket, processed itself into a joint that you could then smoke?
So all of the weed that is currently being used is basically illegal because there's no way all of this could grow so fast. But like everyone is fine with it, like police, governments, like well. But if you think about it, it's funny.
It's almost like everybody expected that when the law goes into effect, there'll be a time period where things will be weird.
It's the gray area.
Meanwhile...
That's interesting. It's not my day. The prefectural assembly member and city councillor are related.
It's dirty as what it is, shouting at each other's names during elections. While one is up for election, the other one holds an assembly and will double up on their campaign activities.
Seems smart to me.
Blatantly.
Teamwork. I don't know much about this stuff, but isn't that against the rules of the election?
As long as they have no prior consultation, there are no restrictions on their political activities. Kuma-chan, the 2nd Investigation Division is going to be pretty tough for you. You should at least brush up on election laws.
I'm not cut out to handle intellectual crime, because I'm dumb. I sometimes feel like that.
Low-key happy that Tifa got to read those lines.
Don't make me smack you.
There. Poetry. It was...
I may be dumb, but I do have fist power.
Fist power? Yeah. That's certainly one way to put it. There was prefectural assembly member Sonozaki and city councillor Sonozaki. Also the mayor of Hinamizawa. So they're all influenced by the Sonozaki family. What crap.
Looks like they were seen off by the deputy chief and the department chief.
What's their last name? Hojo? What was Rika's last name?
Fu...
I forgot.
Something with Fu. Fuka. Fu... Ah, it doesn't matter.
It came to me. That night when the department chief invited me along to get some Oden, I thought that was it.
It's not the same guy.
Yeah, I know. What's this, chief of police? You have a lot of connections, so you might have heard something. Have you? Nope, not a thing. Ma'am, I'll take a tofu fritter and fish cake. The councillor stormed in on the police chief in a rage. Oh my, is that so? Ma'am, I'll take another bowl. Prefectural Assembly member Sonozaki and City Councillor Sonozaki were both intimidating.
If they stare at you like Mion and Reina do, okay, I'll vote for you.
The stares run in the family, yes. I have a question about the writing. Why do they never just use him, her, they, them? Why is it always the entire title as well? Oh, a snot-nosed career police chief couldn't handle being yelled at by them. They're like Yakuza. A petition with your name came up regarding how the investigation of the Hinamizawa incident is being handled. Goodness me, I've not the faintest. No need to play dumb. You're opening the past cases regarding Hinamizawa, aren't you? Only got my hands full with Tomitaka's death. Really? I hope so for your sake. There was a period of silence. While we were silent, we made headway on our food and drink. What a completely normal, beautiful type of conversation to have while you're eating with your boss. Whew, that was quite a feast. This month has been a bunch of losses for me, so my wallet was feeling the pinch. Much appreciated. Nah, it's nothing. Tell me a good horse again. I'll bet on the same one as you.
Oh, I was gonna say a good horse. Is this a saying that I don't understand? Like, tell me a funny joke or...
Yeah. I haven't been doing well there lately. I haven't been able to read for horses at all. Taxi! I'm going by train. My department chief is taking a taxi. I have my own car, but it'd be rash to drive it home. Can't blow it right before retirement with a DUI. Even though he could still rattle off, it looked like his legs were already jelly. Pushing him into the cab, I gave the driver the department chief's address.
Can we share a taxi?
Well, see you again tomorrow. Best wishes. Ooishi-san. Yeah. Past incidents have all been closed. Stop lumping... You're affecting me. Stop lumping them all together. Those villagers half believe it's really a curse. Well, I'm not convinced. You're going to be retiring next year, aren't you? Aren't you going to pay off your mortgage with your severance pay and move up to Hokkaido with your mom?
And not anymore.
Mother pines to return to her birthplace. That's the least I can do. And for pension, well, it'll let me enjoy myself in Susukino. The chief said he may have to reconsider issuing your special retirement salary raise. The public servant's severance payment is calculated based on their monthly salary when they retire. So a special promotion of 2 pay grades is given before retirement. This tops up the employee's severance payment. That tends to be how it's done around here. Of course, it's not exactly a commendable custom. And incidentally, the difference that 2 pay grades make to the payout is quite significant. I'd expect no less of our egghead chief, quite the model veiled threat, but, well, considering how our pay comes from the public's hard-earned taxes, it's the way of the times, I suppose. It certainly wasn't a laughing matter, but I'll laugh through it anyway.
Sometimes the best way.
I don't think it's such a model response, but given how hard you've worked, it's not at all odd for you to take home such a good package. Personally, I'd like you to get it. If I can get it, well, of course I'd want it. You'll get it, as long as you're an adult about this. I'm sorry for holding you up here, driver. Thank you very much. I closed the door roughly, interrupting the department's chief conversation a bit rudely. It looked like he still had something to say, but he just smiled wryly and waved. I waved in return. The cab sped up gradually and soon disappeared among the sea of lights. Ooishi jump scare, why?
Oh, his art style is now a tiny bit more...
Nope, same one.
I guess it's because of the close-up, but it feels a bit more brushed. Does that make sense?
That's because it's close-up.
Yeah.
They do horse races, or betting on those. Is that still a thing nowadays? Because I've never met anybody personally that has been to a horse race or bet on one. I think it's kind of fallen out of custom.
I've met people who have, but more like a I want to do this once kind of thing. Not like I go there every weekend.
It was in 90s Japan, I think. Yeah, like if I think of like older movies and shows I've watched, horse races or betting on horse races usually shows up when the bad guys are doing something. So
Now it's more like a rich person event. It's also quite costly to even get in nowadays.
Yeah, true.
Like I once looked at going to one and the entry was like $35 each.
Just to watch horses run.
Just to go in.
I don't need to pay money to watch a horse go in a circle fast. I think I'm good with that. Same. Horse races still exist very commonly. I think they're just out like advertised. Yeah, fair enough. True.
It's also not really something most people are interested in nowadays anymore.
Yeah, true. He was so angry that he was mildly rude in Japan. Yeah, I mean...
Probably not even mildly, I want to say this is considered gravely rude.
To us, mildly, but I have a feeling that the other guy was pissed about it. Oh man, I wonder if I'll be able to repay that loan. Now he doesn't even get to enjoy his air conditioning. Doo-doom.
How about before we start into the actual story, we take a short break?
That we can do.
BRB.
BRB. We're back.
I don't want to go to school, Mom.
Well, I don't think Mom really has a choice.
Quick, break my arm.
No. Knack. Okay. Alright, I did not expect that to actually be close. I expected it to be like knocking on a door, but that actually worked in terms of footsteps, I guess. The sound of muffled footsteps stopped in front of the door to my room. Oh, it's Reina again.
I would now be so paranoid if I heard footsteps.
If I had a foot, I would be paranoid. Oh my god, there's 2 feet.
Where does it come from? Like every time.
Startled by my own feet.
No, but now ever since the Reina thing, if I heard like footsteps,
amputee Jack,
outside of my door, I would go and check who is outside. I would be so paranoid.
Yes.
So paranoid.
I have a feeling, I don't know if a game is gonna also go into this, but if Keiichi doesn't end up with a very large need for lots and lots of therapy after this, or with like PTSD or whatever, I'd be shocked. Lieutenant Jack ain't got no life. True, but I catch shrimp. No, I wouldn't. A moment of silence, as if whomever they belonged to was ascertaining if I was inside. Of all the things I should have been doing, I continued with my restless slumber. I was very much conscious, but my body hadn't caught up yet.
Oh, I feel it. Like sometimes you wake up at like 2 a.m. That's when I wake up and I like complain about it's too bright in the room. And then for hours, I'll like lay awake and I'll struggle sleeping. But you're still in like that half asleep sort of mind where you don't think like, oh, I could just close the blinds to solve the problem. So no, you'll just struggle through the entire night. Like being partially awake, partially asleep. No?
I don't recall ever experiencing this myself, and I have to say, if you wake up at 2 a.m. because it's too bright in the room, and then you spend the next 6 hours just laying there, not doing anything about that, that's a you problem.
Yeah, I know. But in those moments, you don't think like, oh, I can close the blinds and it will get darker.
What's the German word for sleep paralysis? Tiefer. I don't know, actually. I would guess Schlafparalyse. So basically just that, but literally translated. Yeah. I don't think we have a specific term for that. It seems to be a non-German issue, I want to say. Maybe there's a cultural reason that we don't experience that like this.
I'm just saying I understand your body not catching up.
Even with danger bearing down on me just beyond the door. It was as if I was completely paralyzed, unable to move. Without a doubt, this was sheer terror.
Understandable.
So, not sleep paralysis, paralysis induced by fear. Please, just leave.
Rainalysis. Oh, come on, that one was good. That one was good. Like, I give myself points for that.
Boo! No.
Well.
German sleep peacefully all of the night. I wish. Hey, why isn't my body awake yet? If I came into my room right now, then... Wah! Why did you do it so disgustedly? That wasn't it wasn't...
I'm sorry. Eek!
Oh no, it's my 15-year-old son.
It was like a reaction to you screaming, and I would just go like, ugh.
If
I don't make an eek sound either.
No, you've never been startled and made an ooh sound. No.
I also don't make an eek sound or scream. I don't do screaming.
True, you're more of a meep.
More of an
I sprung to my feet and threw my covers at my mom, who was opening the door.
Whoa! Keiichi! What's the matter?
Sorry. I was still half asleep. I thought it was still 1 or 2 a.m., but the morning sun was already steaming. The morning sun was steaming. But the morning sun was already streaming through the gap between the curtains. It felt nothing like morning.
Why do I think we overslept and missed the beginning of school?
Yesterday, I must have fallen asleep right after that. And I should have gotten a full 10 hours of rest. But it didn't feel anything like that. My internal clock was completely screwed up and my sense of balance fell off. I felt feverish enough that it was clear to me that I was still not well.
Tough shit. Well, Keiichi, how are you feeling? Can you make it to school?
I felt far from well enough. No, I wasn't mentally fit to go. I was still plagued with a terror from yesterday. If I had swallowed that needle, what would have happened?
Of just bit straight onto it.
Or what if it had pierced my tongue?
Well, that isn't the worst that can happen.
Imagine, like, I'm a kind of person, I take really big bites out of things usually. Especially when nobody's watching. So I could have probably eaten the mochi in one bite, but the idea of taking like a little bun mochi kind of thing, taking a huge bite and then the needle is stuck upwards like that.
Yeah.
I would know.
That would be so painful.
I felt that pain go actually into my mouth roof and down my spine.
I'm still not sure what sounds better. Move roof, or roof mouth?
Roof roof?
Move roof.
That's gonna be your band name.
The move roofs.
I'm trying, people. I'm trying. I need to deal with this, Bo.
The move roofs.
Not to be confused with a cow band, the move roofs.
I'd spell it a bit differently, but I'd absolutely go with it.
Now, back into the moment. There was undoubtedly a murderous intent, but I don't think that's all it was. If they really wanted to kill me, then there were other more certain ways to do it. They wouldn't resort to such a dubious method as having me swallow a needle. Meaning, I didn't want to believe it, but going that far was just a threat from Reina and Leon. Aren't you glad you didn't die? But next time we'll use a more assured method. Like that. Something like sending a letter with a razor inside would have been a joke compared to this.
Oh yeah, they could have put a razor in that too.
That's what I was thinking first when it seemed like he was like bleeding or something.
Did you make it to the hospital? Did you take your medicine?
Yeah, kinda. Something about my mom's dubious gaze bothered me. She seemed more concerned about her son missing 2 days of school rather than him being sick. It was definitely mental fatigue. I wasn't really physically ill.
It'll be hard for you to get back on track once your daily routine is thrown off. Come on, get on up. They say wellness is a state of mind. Yeah, and our state of mind is not in the wellness area.
Ooh, parenting problems 101. I heard that line many times before.
If you're depressed, just smile.
Yeah, just go for a walk or something. Just stop being sad. was given an award in elementary school for having perfect attendance, but it wasn't like I was healthier than everyone.
Come on, go wash your face. Breakfast is already ready. There isn't much time before Reina-chan comes and gets you.
Okay.
What you gonna do?
So...
What you gonna do when Reina comes for you? Me on, me on. So?
I was trying to have a conversation going. But carry on. Get it out of your system.
Yeah, I did.
How can you tell that it's the Hinamizawa police approaching you?
Ooishi. No?
No.
Oh.
But because of your alarm, me on.
I was on the right direction. Also, what happened to...
Why did you take my mind on this journey? I was
what
in
happened
the moment.
to your... I'm trying to get a conversation going when you pull off a stupid joke yourself.
You know why? You know when... Like,
and I can't sing.
People on the internet share like, oh, never argue with an idiot. They'll just drag you down to their level and then you lose because they're used to it.
That's not me.
Not saying you're an idiot, but your thing took me along on the journey you were having and now I was stuck there.
So that's it.
What I wanted to talk about is actually way less funny.
Oh, you were actually going to say something.
Shockingly, yes.
I thought you had that joke lined up.
May I, or do you still need a moment?
No, you may.
On Sunday, we played a part where Keiichi was talking about how he had perfect attendance in all of school because he just never misses a day. And I was thinking, oh, that's really enviable because my immune system is not great, far from perfect. So...
Did he mention it?
Yeah, he did.
I don't remember.
So I was low-key jealous. But now it turns out I was given an award in elementary school for having perfect attendance. But it wasn't like I was healthier than everyone.
Also in elementary school.
So I'm taking his mom is making him go to school. Or at the very least, making him feel like he should be going to school anyway.
I don't even remember the line went. Ooh.
Yeah, because you were doing the Bad Boys song.
But seriously, in elementary school, that's where like everyone gets sick.
Yes.
That's where your kid goes sick to school and then the entire classroom.
Yes, thank you for finally being in my conversation. Yes, so I take it that Keiichi's mom sends him to school sick just so that he doesn't miss a day or his perfect attendance record gets broken.
Yeah, I guess. But yesterday, as in game yesterday, she was fine. She was like, oh, you're not feeling well? Then how about you stay home and rest? She wasn't pushing us. She even suggested it.
There's a difference between telling somebody outright that they shouldn't be doing something and inadvertently or on purpose making it very clear to somebody what your expectation is of them.
Yeah, but yesterday that expectation was not shown through at all. Not one bit.
Maybe because for once Keiichi actually stood up for himself and said, no, I'm sick. Maybe usually he caves and goes, no, it's fine, I can power through it.
I think you're overthinking it, but sure.
Kids with perfect attendance weakness disgusts me. Why do I hear that in Skinner's voice? Mom's tone meant I couldn't argue about it, so I had to give up on skipping a second day.
You'll have to use the mouse. Oh, even the mouse doesn't work.
Am I the only one? Because it's getting funny, like... You can't see the mouse. You can't see the mouse cursor. I deactivate. Wait, you can, here. There, now you can see that I'm moving the mouse.
Maybe you're clicking on the wrong pixel.
I clicked on the wrong part of the text.
By the way, were you the one who got bean paste all over the living room wall, Keiichi? Living room wall. We threw it in the kitchen.
What part of don't think too much about the backgrounds do you not remember?
Yeah, but we were actually in the kitchen. What if they came back while we were sleeping?
It was the living room.
You shouldn't do something like that. It was so not the living room. Your father was quite angry. Understandable.
If you don't know why, it makes sense. I didn't feel particularly guilty for doing it, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Also, Mom didn't question me any further about it. She headed back downstairs after she was certain I was getting up. What Mion said as she left yesterday? I'd hate it if you missed school tomorrow. Came back and dwelled in the back of my head.
I think he threw them from the kitchen to the living room. Especially on the
Don't
art.
worry too much.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, but it could have been the difference between Mion and Reina coming back and trash his house or not. That's what I'm going for.
No, then Keiichi's reaction would have been different.
Yeah, I guess.
What did she mean by that? I didn't even really have to think about it. She was saying don't be absent. Taking that a bit further, it was the same as her saying I should just go about living my life as if nothing happened. If I showed any signs of acting unusual, it would probably result in them making their move. If I acted differently, someone like ooishi-san, for example, might end up noticing that something is up. Meaning, if I didn't watch my mouth or did anything differently from the norm, in effect it would end up communicating something to those who were undesirable. And it seems that was something that the girls didn't intend to forgive. So, if I just went along as normal, no harm would come to me. Was that how it was going to be? All that misery I experienced up until yesterday would almost creepily just fade away. It was an enticing deal. Just by forgetting everything I'd seen or heard of these last few days, be able to keep living on like normal. There's no way such a selfish thing could... I swallowed hard. I once again deliberated on the idea I had just rejected. Mion was probably a good person who had her friends at heart. She was giving me, who had mistakenly broken some rules of theirs, a chance.
That's one way to look at this. A chance to kill yourself. Chance to hurt yourself.
Was what I did really something so unforgivable? But Mion had given me another chance. She was saying, if I just forgot everything and kept living on like I had been, I'd be forgiven.
Keiichi, your food is going to get cold. Hurry up and come down here. Reina will be here if you don't hurry.
Nah, I'm coming. I crammed my textbooks into my bag and hastily made my way downstairs. You've never had...
See, that's the wall. Okay, never mind.
You never had these types of thoughts in your life? Where you were trying to rationalize something bad somebody else had done?
Well,
trying to find your fault in it all because it's easier to blame yourself than to find fault with the other person?
Yeah, absolutely. But not in a case where they put needles in my food.
Maybe it was an accident.
I'll just accept it.
This is how abusive relationships continue to work. You keep finding ways to try, at least, to rationalize to yourself, oh, that's because of this.
Yeah, I know how it works, but still.
I picked at my somewhat bland breakfast. It seemed that I didn't have much time. It was already past when I usually met up with Reina. Given yesterday's events, she'd probably be here in the next 5 minutes. I needed to be ready to head to school by then. I had to forget everything that had happened these past 2 days. Forget it all and return to my normal life. For this to be normal, I'll have to be where I normally meet up with Reina. Today of all days, the race was dry and hard to get down.
Ding dong. It already has a sound effect though.
Is there anything else you would like to complain about while we're here?
Well, while we're at it...
Jack! I jumped at the sound and dropped my chopsticks. A chime signaled that Reina had arrived. Mom hurried me along.
Come on, Reina-chan's already here. Hurry, hurry!
My mother's merry smile and my gloomy face were polar opposites. Honestly, I was reluctant to see Reina, who was waiting there on the other side of the door. Reina on the other side, was it the Reina I knew? I couldn't keep her waiting. I needed to do things as usual.
Morning!
An invigorating greeting filtered in from across the doorway.
I came since Keiichi-kun was a bit late. Will he be okay today, I wonder?
The manner in which Reina was concerned was, without a doubt, the Reina I knew. But that was probably only if I reciprocated. Forget everything from yesterday. Pretend as though nothing had happened. Forget about the gruesome dismemberment. Forget about the mysterious deaths that happened the following years. Forget about the people falling to their deaths, and the terminal illness, and suicide, the fatal beatings, and the disappearances. Forget it. Forget all of it. Forget that Reina and Mion were scary. Of course, forget it all. Forget about all of it. Forget about the mochi too. Forget. Reina once again asked to make sure.
Can you make it to school?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Great. Then let's go. Michan is waiting.
Reina showed me her usual bright smile. I couldn't find any hint of deceit in her expression. My nervousness dissipated, giving way to relief.
Nice job forgetting by listing it all at first. Well, it's like you bring it up and you let it go. Like you write it down, you throw it away, and it's gone.
You think of a thought, you take the thought, you put
it from your
into a piece of paper, you crumple up the thought in it, and then you light it on fire, and then poof, it's gone. Remember to forget, basically. But yeah.
But you see, Satoko-chan was so insistent she could do it.
As we were walking, Reina talked about a lot of different stuff, more so than usual. Then?
Satoko-chan is clumsy, so she felt no matter how many times she tried, she was so cute. You know what's also cute? Sewing.
This needle!
I would want to jam it in her eyes so badly.
Nah, that would freak me out even more.
Yes, there's time for that after.
Nah. I think the Japanese idea is you put that in a box and you put the box over there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, compartmentalize your thoughts, your feelings, and you lock them away forever. It's not good. Doesn't usually work for longer periods of time. And to think of a word, it's like corporal, no.
Just put it in a box.
Yeah. Speak easy, Jack. Use normal words.
Why does everything need to be so complicated? Life can be so easy.
Why say many letter when can say less letter?
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine if visual novels work like this. Do you want to actually play through the game as intended, or do you want to get the TIFA version?
Hey, excuse me, we have played visual novels where we have agreed the game would be much better if they actually did that. Remember the llama one? That needs a version like that.
Parker Plus. Yes, that should have been trimmed. Meanwhile, everything Reina talked about was just silly nonsense, so I just replied ever so often and laughed from time to time. It was a rather laid-back conversation.
It's the
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then?
Do my finger guns. We passed by one of our neighbors and they called out to us.
Oh my, Keiichi-chan and Reina-chan, aren't you two a bit late today? Mion-san said she was going on ahead.
Please don't set me with needles. Yeah.
No needles, please. Did Michan look mad, I wonder? We need to hurry up, Keiichi-kun.
After greeting our neighbor with a smile, Reina turned back to me and poked her tongue out. Not expecting that, I couldn't help but crack a smile.
Keiichi-kun smiled.
Where was the tongue sticking out part? I was thinking more like that's the way Tifa would do that.
Excuse me?
I'm
I
sorry.
just did it. And then you go like, that's the way Tifa would do it. Obviously not.
I want to say, the 3 or 4 times you've actually stuck out your tongue to me, it was more like
Yeah, but then
like you were trying to become a new member of Kiss. Also, I did that so hard my skin hurts. How did I do that? Huh? What? Reina stopped and stared at me.
I expected a different stare.
I was expecting a...
With the blink.
Close-up stare, yeah.
I was thinking that you still hadn't recovered from your cold since you seemed down this morning, Keiichi-kun. But now you seem fine. Fine.
With a grin, she gently poked my cheek.
Don't touch me, bitch.
It was a bright, sincere smile. Hey, Keiichi Maebara. How can you still doubt Reina after she shows you a smile like that? Maybe I just had a high fever up until today and I imagined everything that I thought happened because I was bedridden and delirious. I really hope that was the case. If God would grant me just one wish. It's only one thing that I'd wish for. I would want what had happened in these past few days. More specifically from the night of Nagashi up until last night. I wanted all of that to never have happened. I wonder how many times I'd wished for this these past few days. As long as Reina kept on smiling like this, I think it might just become reality. So I wanted Reina to keep on smiling.
Mood.
Keep on smiling.
Absolutely. So, Keiichi-kun?
No, don't!
With every pause like you.
I knew it.
Those mochi yesterday? Did you eat them all? Just waiting for it.
I get the rationalizing things. I get the whole, oh, if I could wish. Oh, it's my fault. I just imagined. It's just me being weird.
You just don't want it to be true. Everything but for it to be true.
In this moment, take your school back, swing it in her face, knock her the fuck out, run back home.
And grab the nearest rock.
Get your parents, get in the car, leave, and never come back. No. No. Hell no. That vain wish of mine was instantly shattered. My heart began palpitating, the relaxed morning mood suddenly became frigid. Reina's smile was the same as usual, her eyes were gently as usual. Those mochi yesterday, did she eat them all? Of course she wasn't asking the question at face value. In other words, Reina was asking, did you get the message? She was probably trying to convey that.
Pretend like your nose is bleeding. Pretend like your nose is bleeding. Keiichi-kun?
I was reluctant to give an answer. Reina stopped walking and stared deeply into my eyes.
Just say, yeah, they were great. Nose bleeding.
Don't hesitate, Keiichi Maebara. Reina was acting the same as always, wasn't she? I needed to respond in my usual way. Naturally, of course. But both my throat and mouth had gone dry and my lips were stuck together. Hurry and answer, Keiichi. Not that much time had passed. I could still keep the conversation going naturally. I had to say something quickly. Reina playfully mimicked what I said when I finally squeaked something out. Reina's reaction was still normal. It seems that there wasn't as long of a pause as I had thought. Somehow I finally squeaked out the rest. Delicious? However, my strained efforts neither sullied nor brightened Reina's expression. For a moment I panicked, thinking I'd replied incorrectly. But after a few moments, Reina broke into her usual soft smile and giggled with a joyful voice that seemed to echo through the morning air. Being strung along by that laugh? Couldn't help but laugh as well.
I see. So did you eat all of them, I wonder?
This is the dialogue equivalent of a cat cornering a mouse and pouncing on it. Like the cat knows it's won. The mouse can't go anywhere. My timid smile froze again. Did you make it without swallowing the needle? Was that what she was asking? If I had swallowed it, then I wouldn't be here. No, I couldn't finish all of them. There's still some left. I was scared out of my wits, but that's how I played it.
Huh? What about the homework? To see if you could tell which one Reina made.
That homework, was it due today?
Just say, based on the looks, this one looks slightly different, so it's that one. Yeah, it's due today. Michan will get angry. There's probably a penalty game ready for you. Walk on Legos.
We both laughed at each other again. To a casual observer, it was just a typical morning. If I could just let myself believe, and even I'd think it was just the usual morning routine. But I was certain I wasn't mistaken. There was something unimaginable buried beneath the facade of his giggling Reina.
Lies!
I recalled that unexpected piercing voice that I could hardly believe came from Reina's mouth. The moment that image crossed my mind, I felt like a cold sweat trickle down my back. Was it only that particular time that something evil had possessed Reina? No, that was wrong. That was still Reina. Ooishi-san told me, didn't he? Actually, I looked into her. Before Ryuga-san moved away to Hinamizawa, she was suspended from school. It seems she went through the school building, and broke all of her windows. Why would you break all of her windows, by the way? Like, why would you hate windows so much?
Well, reflection maybe?
I mean, this is the early 90s, so the average Linux user hasn't been invented yet.
I want to say reflection.
I just made a deep operating software joke and you didn't even acknowledge that.
It wasn't that good.
Wow. Reina had a disorder that normal people didn't. No matter how pleasantly she smiled, that fact would not change.
What about me, Ando?
Koichi's a Kei. Now I'm saying Koichi too. Why do you curse me? Keiichi's a Mac kid. Yeah, definitely because of his dad. Because it's the 90s, so clearly the only computer, yeah, that's the right term, an artist would use is a Mac. Yeah, she's more of an orange juice girl. See what you did there. Disdain for your joke. Savage. I'll take it. But I couldn't even imagine how she looked as she broke all the glass throughout the school. One thing I knew was that it wasn't something spur of a moment. If it was some sudden outburst of anger, then maybe she'd break a pane or two. But she broke all of the windows all throughout her school. Just imagine going through your own school building, breaking the windows with a bat.
We've all wanted to do that before.
That's cool shot, actually. Swinging full force at each pane of glass, one after another, paying no heed to the flying shards. Your classmates aghast, unable to move on the sudden turn of events. I wonder where she could have found the most windows lined up in a row. Probably the hallway. Walk, wind up, walk, wind up. It was difficult for me to connect that horrifying image with Verena smiling at me right now. But I just had to imagine it. Impossible because it was unimaginable. That naive way of thinking no longer worked. The unpleasant piercing sound of shattering glass, the crunching noise as Reina treads across the broken shards, walking towards me. Reina's classmates going pale as they forget to even breathe. I wonder what they did as Reina came closer, breaking windows along her path. Did they earnestly try to bring her to her senses by saying something? Did they jump at her trying to stop the savagery? Or did they run to the staff room to call for the teachers? Probably none of those. In the face of that blood-curdling sight of Reina busting window after window, undoubtedly all they could do was silently clear a path for her. Dumbfounded, just clearing the path for Reina to continue. It would be cruel to blame anyone for looking the other way. No, they weren't simply looking the other way. They knew it was the only way they could do... It was the only way they could do... I saw a D where there was a T. They knew it was the only way they could to protect themselves. If they had done something differently from the rest, they may have suddenly found themselves as Reina's new target. What would Reina have done to whoever attracted her attention? The answer was obvious. She would have undoubtedly acted according to her whims. Meaning I would be the next window. Reina staring into my eyes, shards of glass crunching and crackling underfoot as she drew closer. I was also drawn into her eyes, paralyzed. Then Reina struck me with a bat over and over and over again, like I was one of those windows. I crouched down on the floor, desperately protecting my head. Reina didn't care whether it was my head or my back. Zealously, she hit me again and again. What kind of expression was she making as she was doing this over and over again? I peered up to see. The expression was so indifferent, it was completely unnerving. It's because no matter how many times she struck me, it didn't make a pleasant sound as the other windows. She struck me continuously, over and over again. The sound Reina wanted didn't come out. Our classmates standing around didn't try to stop her. They didn't want to be the next window. Somebody save me! Turning a blind eye unless we're hanging out? But of course everyone in the class scrambled to obtain the highest standardized test scores. They'd gain nothing from saving a cram school tryhard like me. Eventually there would be a faint sound similar to when you crack open a walnut and some sort of reddish black spray would shoot out. Is this all happening in his head? Because it's very dramatically vivid.
Yeah, this is in his head.
Actually, I remember as a kid, an old school building was to be torn down and we threw rocks at the windows. I've always wanted to do that. I never got the chance.
Reina with a bat? This is so cute. Take your homework. No.
That's actually pretty good. I hate it, but it's good. Anyway, it wasn't that Reina momentarily lost herself in her anger.
She's still waiting for an answer on the mochi thing, by the way?
After forcing myself to breathe and calming down my heart, I recalled what ooishi-san told me. And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all of the conversations he had with Reina-san. It shows up, and quite a bit at that. What does? She mentioned the word oyashiro-sama. Is she the demon? Is that gonna be the thing? Little Reina Ryugu is the demon of Hinamizawa.
And his 5-year-old going around killing people.
With a bat, apparently.
Don't forget, it also happened when she wasn't in the city.
Allegedly. Her parents could have driven her back.
That seems a bit weird, but sure.
Hey, little Reina, Mommy and Daddy had a look at the calendar and we noticed that it's been a year since our last trip to Hinamizawa.
It's stabby time.
Of Watanagashi. So here's your bat. Go nuts. It's like Purge Night, but Reina exclusive.
They would be slightly messed up.
Are we supposed to believe that Reina is like bipolar or something? Because so far, whenever we got tips in between the chapters, the information that was in the tips became relevant during the episode, I want to say. Like earlier when we learned about the different cases of people dying and vanishing, that became a thing in the main story after that. And now there was a lot of talk about drugs and depression and bipolar disorder.
I mean, I see where you're going, and it makes sense to go in that direction, but also not, because then Mion would also be the same.
Yeah.
For some reason, we're now focusing very heavily on Reina. I think Mion's part will come when we meet Mion.
Plus, at least from what little I've seen or read about people with BPD, Reina doesn't seem to be acting like you would be able to pick up on that. Unless she's medicated. I guess. It's an important thing to know that Ryokishi 07 used to be a social worker. Oh, okay. That kind of makes sense.
Who's that? The guy you
The
was
person
talking
who
to?
made the game.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, Japanese people just have numbers in their names nowadays. That's how I also knew that Eevee is actually secretly Japanese.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because of a
Could
000.
have been a typo.
Fair enough. Good point.
Yeah,
good argument.
I know.
Yes. But if you actually paid attention during the opening of a game, no, that's the person who made the game.
Well, I
So
don't.
I cut through your words. Damn it, you got me. Imagine if there was a country where as part of your name you would be given a number. Could be kind of cool actually, but also annoying.
In every country you get a number.
As part of your name, I said.
It is part of your identity, technically.
I take 42. I'll take 69. Following that, Reina was suspended and had regular examinations at the hospital. Then, as Reina was undergoing counseling, she said it over and over. Oyashiro-sama. It seems that the Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost appearing in her house every night, standing over her pillow, looking down at her. Like I'm looking down at you for yawning.
Oh, I'm a bit smaller.
That's true, technically I'm always looking down on Tifa. I'm sorry, I never considered your feelings with that. Would you like me to be shorter?
Yes.
Tough shit. It's not gonna happen.
Can chop off a piece at the knees.
No. That's a horrible idea.
Huh?
No.
So cute. Small Jackie Wacky.
Yeah, during our vacation I'll be undergoing body shortening surgery. Probably not. That was only a piece of a conversation, so I still couldn't see the big picture, but it was by no means a happy little conversation. Then what Reina did, was she saying that ghastly incident was the result of her being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? Up until now I didn't want to believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. That's why I wanted to say the mysterious deaths every year happened because of some sort of conspiracy. Every time I talked with ooishi-san, I was more certain that the deaths were the work of men and not some curse. Except, if it was people perpetrating the incidents, my friends were somehow deeply connected. If I refused to believe that the curse was real, then I would have to believe that those who acted the kindest to me were deeply involved in the incidents. Why? How? For what reason? Was Reina? Was everybody? It was much more painful and troublesome in accepting that it was just Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the aftermath, Reina had admitted to her doctor that it was because she was possessed by Oyashiro-sama. I felt a strange sense of relief from that. So that's how it was. There wasn't a second side to Reina. She did that because she was possessed by something strange like Oyashiro-sama. It wasn't Reina's fault. Oyashiro-sama was the one to blame. I knew. This was all backwards. Refusing to believe there was a curse, I wanted there to be a human perpetrator. Now that my close friends were the ones under suspicion, I changed my beliefs at my own convenience, saying that it was Oyashiro-sama's curse to blame. Which was the better choice, accepting that Oyashiro-sama's curse exists, or that Reina and the rest of them were deeply involved in the string of mysterious deaths. I didn't want to think about it. If I just didn't think about it, I'd be able to continue the same as always. I wanted to believe that, but that was no longer possible. I had received the message. It was pathetic of me to try and bend the meaning to my own convenience, regardless of whether my opponent were a human or a curse. I won't let it kill me. As if I would just bend over and give in, for no good reason at all. I hope that Keiichi will stick with that last part. The no, I should not put myself under the illusion that this is all just gonna go away one way or another, like out of nothing.
Well, I hope it does. That they go away, that he goes away, someone goes away. Keiichi-kun? You've been making a really weird face. That's my yawning face when I try to stop it.
I have something to help you against the yawning.
Why, I wonder?
Because she didn't say anything, now just looked weird. I have ice cold hands. Inhaling sharply upon hearing Rena's voice, I came back to my senses, before I had realized that we were already at the entrance. Shaking my head a few times, I exorcised all of those terrifying thoughts. No matter how you looked at it, there was no way Rena could have done such terrible things.
Yeah, she's cute. She can't be doing these things.
Hot people don't do bad things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like this person is in jail for the murder of another person, but he's really attractive. I don't think he murdered anybody. Maybe it was a misunderstanding.
It really must have. The other person must have asked for it.
Yeah,
it was self-defense.
Not even self-defense, but if somebody's asking you to kill them and you do it, that's more like a kindness, right?
That's actually a really interesting.
No, it's not. It was like I was trying to placate myself. How is he gonna make that through the school day? Like, come on. As I slid the door open, a blackboard eraser loaded with chalk dropped down on my head the moment I stepped into the classroom. The chalk dust went into my eyes, inducing a brief moment of agony. Satoko!
I would now use this moment to get out of class activities. It's like, oh, my eyes are really irritated from the chalk. Like, I'm getting a headache. I'm gonna go home after school.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't hang, but you know.
Just throw up violently everywhere.
Basically. How befitting for the truant Keiichi-san. Good morning to both of you, Keiichi and Reina. Good morning, Satoko-chan, Rika-chan.
Not quite in the mood for it, I didn't really react to Satoko's trap. Satoko braced herself as I passed by, expecting me to attack her. She seemed a bit disappointed as I simply walked by silently.
Oh, and then in the dust, there's little pieces of glass. Like tiny glass shards.
Who hurt you?
I can answer that, as a matter of fact. I can tell you that.
Only you would think of putting fractured glass pieces into chalk to throw into somebody's eyes. Yeah, I'm with you, Psycho. Calm down, Satan.
It was Satoko-chan.
No, the glass is you.
Well, what's this? How discouraging indeed. Keiichi doesn't seem back to his usual self yet.
No, he got glass in his eyes now.
Yeah, that really annoying feeling that when you blink, it hurts, like you get stings because there's something in it. Like when you have those, what are they called? Those bumps in your eyelids.
Mm-hmm.
I had that once and that hurt so much.
Gonna cry? No, gonna go blind.
It's because of the glass. Who put glass in my eye?
Now he'll have to wear eyeglasses. Well, technically he's already got the eyeglass part done. The ratio is just off.
Yeah. Take it easy on him for today, okay?
He probably has internal bleeding. Ooh.
I got Raineritas.
Suddenly there was a slap down on my shoulder. It hurt a bit.
Hey, Kei-chan, did you get enough rest?
It was Mion. My mind was full with his stuff about Reina, but Mion was also a party of interest. Remember Keiichi? That hawkish gaze from yesterday.
No, don't remember. Forget.
Yeah, morning.
On the upside, he's not gonna see Reina's scary eyes anymore.
That's true.
Very true.
Yeah.
What's with that unenergetic greeting? Did you eat the mochi I brought you?
I'm like this because I ate one. Those words were itching to be blurted out. I really just didn't have the appetite. I ate a few, but quite a lot were left over.
Huh? What about the homework? Do you have an answer for which one was Reina's? Just say it. Keiichi-kun said he forget his homework. Sheesh. Then we can't help it. Time for your penalty.
I want to interrupt this program for a second to applaud Tifa for joining us in the Real People Club and reading the word the way it's supposed to be read.
I only did that.
Sheesh.
I only did that for you.
Tifa, I don't care why you do normal things. I don't care why you do good things. I just care that you do them. So,
sheesh.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Sheesh.
Were you trying to hurt me by saying it correctly again?
Sheesh.
What? That
actually works.
I need to get dark for a second. Can you make that sound again? Wait, no, wait. The background sound actually worked. Okay, close your eyes. Listen to only the sound of my voice. When I do this, you do the sound again, okay? It's late. You are in your car, driving down the freeway in the countryside. The sun has already set, but the cicadas are still harping on about whatever cicadas are making sounds about. And you see something up ahead on the road. It's in the like a little ditch kind of thing next to the road, like where there's grass and stuff. It's not part of where you drive. And you slow down a little bit because you're thinking, hey, maybe there's a cat or something waiting to cross the street. But as you approach the thing, you suddenly realize it's a dead goat, or it looks dead at least. It must have been hit by a car. And you swallow and you avert your eyes because nobody needs to see roadkill. But just as you hit the accelerator again to drive off after you saw what you now want to not see, you hear the sound.
Sheesh.
Zombie goats. Zombie goats. I don't know where that came from, but the situation popped up in my head.
I'm not sure how we got to zombie goats, but sure.
But it was bad enough to attract one of those bots, which was promptly banned. Don't even know if you guys.
Yeah, they listened. They listened to this and they were like, "You really need to buy viewers because no one will listen to this crap."
Nobody.
I'll do you a favor.
I'll do you a kindness. Here, buy my services. All right, back to... But do you see what happens when you don't say sheesh properly? This happens.
Sheesh, I didn't know it would trigger that.
What do you mean, shesh? Jack. Flashing a lurid smile, Mion returned to her seat. There was nothing from our exchanges that would cause our classmates to suspect anything was amiss. But of course, anyone listening to our conversations up until this morning wouldn't see anything suspicious. That was why it was so frightening. They acted in a way that, regardless of whatever happened to Keiichi Maebara, no one would ever suspect them. That fact had me terrified.
That is kind of creepy.
Soon the teacher came. After she asked how I felt and took attendance, another dull, ordinary day began. Alright. So, club activities, huh? No? Yes.
There we go.
This free study period was a convenient time to consider where I stood. I gently closed my eyes and pondered the ridiculous position I was in right now. First of all, what I shouldn't forget was how dangerous of a situation I was in. I had fallen out of favor with him. After interacting with Ooishi-san multiple times, I could see it as I was getting closer to the heart of the matter. The warning yesterday with a mochi was a good indicator of that. No, calling it a warning was just my habit of understating things. It probably had no meaning beyond stunting my progress and buying themselves some time.
Nah, I doubt that.
Until they had a method of completely erasing me. They were just biding their time. Even though they were keeping me under their thumb with threats, it didn't change the fact that I knew too much. The chilling sensation of my desk made me recall Satoshi Hojo, the boy who was using the seat until last year when he disappeared. Now I see why we were talking about bot sellers.
Yeah, one showed up. It was just a really nice timing.
Yes. If I had been better at improv in the situation, I should have somehow put bots and selling viewership and stuff into my little story. But
you could have made the zombie goats chase the bot sellers.
Nah, couldn't make it work. Maybe next time. Was he also similar to me? Did he learn something he shouldn't have and was erased? Damn, I wouldn't let them get rid of me so easily. Never! But were they really trying to kill me? I've had these contradictory feelings for a while now. Even though I suspected them, I felt I had to cover for them. Even having witnessed all of their suspicious behavior, a morning like this just made it all seem like an elaborate hoax. No, that's just what I want to believe. Doubting my friends, covering for them. My life was in danger. Or was it? Actually, I was debating the wrong point. Given my current situation, those points were something that should have been deliberated on a long time ago. But really, Reina and the rest of them? Were they actually aiming to kill me? The little voice inside me continued to torment me with these unresolvable trains of thought. Are you an idiot, Keiichi Maebara? The answer should be obvious. But maybe that sewing needle might have just been an accident, right?
I'd go paranoid.
How could you screw up and drop a sewing needle into a piece of mochi? The benefit of the doubt can only go so far. Both Reina and Mion had acted and behaved suspiciously, but maybe it was all some sort of misunderstanding. What kind of misunderstanding? It wasn't just suspicious, it was outright ludicrous, right? Reina just corrected me for lying, and Mion only asked me what I had for lunch. Reina was standing outside my door eavesdropping for a solid hour? She was probably just waiting for my phone call to end. For a whole hour outside your room, and is it normal to go home afterwards without saying anything? You heard from ooishi-san, didn't you? About what Reina did at her former school. But at the hospital she said it was oyashiro-sama's fault. Cut it out, Keiichi Maebara. Don't you realize they're out to kill you? Mm-hmm.
Well, there we go.
Dumb ways to die. Dumb ways to die.
That was that.
Should I paint a giant bullseye on my forehead?
But
nah, I should think about it first.
They're just gonna pretend they didn't hear what we said.
Cringe. I inadvertently blurted those words out loud. Hearing myself say that so directly left me dumbfounded for a few moments. Afterwards, I had to look around to check if anyone else had heard it. My little soliloquy cut a little too close to the truth. Even though I could feel the murderous intent from Reina and the others, part of me was somewhere still trying to deny that. This late in the game, such hesitation could be fatal. I knew that. But I was just your average student, a man living his normal, ordinary life. Do you think I could suddenly believe that my friends who I had been happily laughing together with up until last Sunday now intended to kill me, right? You're too soft, Keiichi. This time I remembered to keep my voice down so only I could hear it.
How about you use your inner voice? Inner voice only.
I fully understand the want, desire, or sometimes need to talk to yourself out loud to hear a voice, but this is not the time or place. There was one thing I now understood. I was too soft. I didn't completely understand how dangerous Reina and the rest of them were. No, I wasn't trying to understand.
Also, does not read as a conversation he's having right now, but as a flashback.
That reads like a conversation he's having with himself.
Yeah, but looking back on something.
Yeah, thinking about the things that have happened.
Yeah, but like, as in, not in this moment at all. That's how it feels.
Not to me.
That's how it feels to me.
This is how my mind works sometimes. So, nah. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, ripped it apart.
I don't think you have the strength to even do that.
You could have gone for anything. You could have gone for, oh, Jack, you're just overthinking things.
But technically, you're not the one overthinking.
What?
He's attached from the moment. Yeah, I guess. It does make sense, but it doesn't feel like it at that time.
It does to me. This very much seems like a moment I've had myself multiple times in my life.
Yeah, but you're not overthinking with it.
I love when Jack gave Tifa a dirty look as the Higurashi cried. Yeah. Listen, sometimes there are days where you just feel certain ways. And sometimes there are days where your energy is just different. Today is one of those days where Tifa is saying things I'm trying to follow, but I don't manage to. It's not like I don't want to. Like,
I say this feels like something completely different happening right now. And then you say like, no, it doesn't to me. And then you go like, but I might be overthinking it. You're just thinking as it is. So how can you be overthinking it if you're taking it the way it currently is? It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I feel like this is...
Okay, I'm sorry if
I'm trying to explain.
I don't know if she lost me or if all of you did, because I was doing the thing where I said something that made sense as a bridge between two topics in my head, but not to anybody else. I was trying to say, this doesn't feel like a flashback or something, what you said to me. This feels like I'm going through shit and now I finally got a moment to myself, so I'm trying to process this. Because I've been in this situation multiple times in my life.
Yeah, but that's not overthinking it.
Sometimes
it's all I said.
Sometimes for me it is. When I'm doing it, not Keiichi, me.
Well, stage is yours.
I was too soft for not listening to ooishi-san when he was earnestly showing me the heart of the matter. I didn't listen because I was too busy pretending to be dejected. I didn't comprehend it. I was just running away. I didn't comprehend it, so nobody had any notion to try and kill me. I needed to get rid of such naive thoughts. As I made that resolution, I heard the bell signaling the end of class. So soon. The day was already over. I didn't recall eating lunch or doing anything in class. My friends were putting their desks together in preparation for club activities. Not long ago, I would have probably have happily jumped into that circle. Yeah, how do you play with these people now, huh?
Yeah, just say, hey, I'm still not feeling 100%, now I gotta go. She didn't say anything about joining club activities. Just say show up at school.
Sorry guys, earlier Tifa threw glass into my eyes. I'm almost fully blind now. Can I go? Am I excused?
My, Keiichi-san. How rude of you to even think about leaving.
The way Satoko spoke was so typical and familiar. It almost physically hurt.
Huh? Keiichi-kun? Is today not a good day, I wonder? And we were going to win big together.
Seeing Rena's expression, which said she was really looking forward to today, was hard to take. Hey, Keiichi, maybe Ooishi-san is just some enormous jerk trying to separate me from the others by lying to me. Slap. Trying to expunge such weak-minded thinking, I slapped myself in the face. Which is the perfect thing to do in front of a people that very much seem to at least try to get under your skin to make you do certain things. Yes, show them that you are having a hard time.
No, just say that you slapped yourself as penalty for not eating all of the mochi. Keiichi-kun?
Yeah, was Rena really trying to kill me? I wish someone would tell me it was a hoax. I didn't care if it actually was one or not, I just wanted someone to say it was. Yet another weak-willed thought. How did I ever become this naive?
Are you alright? Does your head hurt?
Apparently that was how my inner dilemma appeared to Rena.
You're pale. Can you make it home by yourself? Maybe I should accompany you home, I wonder?
No, please don't. Don't trouble yourself, Rena. No, it's okay. Sorry. I can get home by myself. Just have a meeting without me. Upon hearing that I wasn't going to participate in the club meeting, Mion pouted unhappily.
Since Kei-chan was so bent on a revenge match, we were even going to play that deduction game from before too. Keiichi-san doesn't have the burning desire for a rematch. How pathetic.
I wouldn't fall for some dumb taunt. Without even a real retort, I just grabbed my bag and was about to get up. Someone's hand perched itself gently on my head.
That's Mion. Oh no.
Since when does Mion pet people? That's Rika's thing.
Yeah, it could have been like a warning thing.
No, that's a hand on the shoulder.
Oh, fair. Keiichi doesn't seem to be well. How very unfortunate.
It was Rika-chan. She was stretched up as far as she could, doing her best to pat my head with her petite hand. It felt so nice, which made things even harder. Sorry, everybody. See you. We didn't even get a shot of Rika like stretching, like standing on her little tippy toes, stretching really hard to just do that.
That would have been cute.
Yes, it would have been. That's all I said as I quickly left the classroom. They said something to me as I was leaving, but I couldn't make it out. They probably said something like, remember to kill yourself on the way.
Swallow the mochi whole.
I managed to make it all the way to the entrance in that state of mind. Took out my shoes, put them on, went forward. Harden the heart, Keiichi Maebara. They were, for some unfathomable reason, trying to kill me. They were plotting something dubious, watching my every move. But I couldn't hate them. Because weren't they my friends? Part of me lamented my naivete, while another part lamented the fact that I had lost something important by lamenting over it in the first place. It felt like my personality was being ripped in two along with my body. If this is what Oyashiro-sama's curse was like, then it was just too harsh. Also, I fully get that this is a 15-year-old emotional boy, but I love how in the whole, like, okay, I need to harden myself, I need to not find excuses why things are this way, I need to come to terms with how gruesome this is and that we're all connected to this. Despite that, the curse is too harsh because he feels like he's being ripped in two and he hurts on an emotional level. What about the people that actually died and their families? And the people who had gone missing? Like,
Yeah, but that's like a far away thing. This is what you're experiencing right now.
yeah, I know. I understand,
That's not wrong.
No, I didn't say that. I said it's still funny.
From an outside perspective,
not in a ha-ha
yes.
funny, but in a...
From an outside perspective, yes, but I would feel exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, you have to deal with your own emotions. There's no time to also deal with all of that, yes. Does it suck? It does, but I'm currently experiencing this and going through that.
Yes, I agree.
What's your problem?
I don't have a problem.
You want to talk about it?
No, Tifa. I was saying something that the things you said just undermined. As in, no, that's a negative form. Untermauern in German. It's the same but positive. It's the opposite of undermining.
I know the Dutch word of what you're trying to say.
It's where you say something that adds and underlines the previous statement. Underlining my thing. I fully get it. Like, at any given moment, like, you stump your toe and that's the worst pain you can imagine. Because you're not opening your mind to the cruelty that happens everywhere around you. Because if you would probably just shrivel up and die. Underscoring? Yeah, I'll take that.
No, I think underlining is the...
No, underscoring works. Same thing, more or less. Yeah.
Don't think I've heard of that one, but...
Because you never scored.
Doesn't matter. Against you all the time, though.
Where?
Say your
I don't see a score.
I can actually... There is actually a score on our crowns, as a matter of fact.
Nobody can see those. If it's not on camera frame or on screen or on chat, it doesn't exist.
I'll move the crowns for next stream.
I'll move you. Hey, oyashiro-sama? I was wrong for not believing in your curse. But I believed in it now. Completely. Your curse does exist. So, seriously? Give me a break. I beg you, come on.
For 1 year. And then I kill you.
Watch. I'm gonna do a similar statement again. Then you can say things that just go along with what I'm saying, but then you seem to be confused about that being a clash that doesn't exist. It's like people who usually don't believe or don't pray get into a situation where something bad might have happened or they believe is about to happen, and then they start praying. And then usually it's things like, oh God, please, if you just let me get through this, I will do so and so. No?
Yeah.
Like the whole time, I don't believe in curses. Curses are stupid. It's clearly people doing these things. Now I'm the one suffering. Oyashiro-sama, you exist. I believe in you. Your curse is real. Like...
It comes from a place of not wanting to talk to yourself, but to someone else, and there isn't really anyone else, so you do the reassuring thing, whether you believe or not.
Denial, fear, bargaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think...
Like, for the small chance of hope that it will do something or something.
I think the bargaining is actually the closest to it, because in that moment, induced by fear usually, you go... What if it could work? Somehow. For whatever reason. What if that is what I need to do to get out of this? Or for it to be getting better? Then just do it anyway. Dinner was unusually bland. It had no flavor or aroma. The miso soup that normally tantalized my appetite instead tasted like nothing but boiled water. Dad was eating with us that night. It was a rare occurrence in this household. When he got into his work, he ate and slept on his own schedule. My dad never cared about the time. Since my dad was at the dinner table, it either meant he had just reached a good point or to take a break where he was in a slump.
Can you move the mouse a little? Thank you.
So yeah, he just doesn't understand the motivation creators have.
Your partnership was just a verbal agreement, wasn't it? If it's so hard to agree on things, why not just end it?
I feel like it's an industry with a lot of back scratching, but when it gets in the way of business... I wasn't able to pick out much of my mom and dad's conversation, but I could tell it wasn't a very pleasant topic. That, of course, made the disgusting food even less appealing. We just went from bland to disgusting in like no time flat. Staring listlessly at the exchange between my parents, my mind wandered off to the same thought process I had going all day long. Friends close to me, no, they used to be my friends, but I could no longer trust them. Right now, I was greatly lacking in allies. People I trusted, people I could depend on when push came to shove. They were something I just didn't have. Having just one ally would have been incredibly reassuring in the currently hopeless situation I was in. I put down my chopsticks and looked over at my parents who were still talking about work. The first course of action that came to mind was to tell my parents everything. Currently, there wasn't a single person from Hinamizawa I could trust 100%. That meant the only people I could trust were my parents. But if I told them everything that had happened until now, would they understand? Reina, for example. That neighborly Reina, who was so diligent in looking after me, came to get me every day and sometimes brought over a share of what she made. How could I explain that she wanted to kill me? No matter how I explained, it would probably be difficult for anybody to comprehend. My somewhat eccentric dad wouldn't understand, and my high-strung mom would probably drag me off to a psychiatrist in the blink of an eye. Sadly, that was the amount of trust that existed in our relationship. Even if I did come to understand, what could they possibly do? Unless they could uncover the truth, they wouldn't be able to protect me. No. By informing them of these unnecessary things, I'd be putting my parents in danger as well. Considering that the victims in past incidents were often married couples, I couldn't even joke about it. For the entire Maebara family to have an accident or just vanish into thin air, it was easily possible in Hinamizawa. What was important there was that knowing something unnecessary put you in danger. The most unsettling question was, how did they know that I knew? As long as they didn't know, my parents might not fall victim. It was one way to think about it, I guess. At least it was like that in my case. After I found out, things started becoming odd. In other words, it meant the following. As long as my parents didn't know anything, nothing would happen to them. Which means that this house would be safe haven as long as my parents were in. I knew these were just assumptions based on conjecture on top of conjecture. Wanting this house to be a safe haven? It was the pinnacle of my weak-willed method of thinking. I had to concede that it was not completely safe. It was only safer than the outside. I knew that I couldn't rely on my parents. No, I couldn't risk getting my parents involved. And the only person who could be my ally would be ooishi-san. Him and him alone. He was the only person who understood the situation I was in. He didn't care so much about my safety, but he was without a doubt passionate about solving this case. It was a bit frustrating. Ooishi-san was basically the whole reason I was in this mess. Now, to get out of it, I had to rely on him. Meaning, it was all going according to his devices. It was just my job to look appetizing while bobbing in the waves as bait.
I do like that comparison.
That
or
picture.
comparison.
Funnily enough, when I go swimming, when I'm not doing lanes, usually I also bob in the water. More like a buoy though.
Oh, I thought you
Less
would
like a
imagine yourself as bait for sharks.
Would I be good shark bait? I mean, I am quite juicy.
But a bit too salty for sharks, I think.
I wonder who made me that way.
That was way before. Before, you were bobbing in the Dead Sea. And now you moved to the North Sea.
the Baltic Sea, as non-Germans would call it. Wait, no, that's the.
So I want to
the
say
Ostsee,
that's
the Baltic Sea, the North Sea. Yeah, you're right.
That's
sorry.
a dramatic increase in salt. Decrease in salt. My bad.
And sometimes it feels like you absorbed some of it.
Yeah, that's like rubbing off. Like I was completely saltless.
Yeah, it's true. You traded some of your naivety for my salt, I guess.
A bit of sour. But that I was a bit sour, but now I'm more salty.
I feel like it's really weird on the internet to debate flavors with a woman. Not that there's anything inherently wrong with that. It's just this is the internet. And somebody is gonna see this and actually think about it.
I personally don't really see the difference, but sure. But continue bobbing in the waves.
Were we not talking salty metaphorically?
Yeah. But I don't get what you're saying there.
And that's the naivety I'm talking about. I'll explain this afterwards, too.
Just continue bobbing in the waves. I was like, what are you doing? I just told you to bob in the waves.
My mind went even further.
I'm so tired.
Before I started actually like moving around, I was thinking of saying, but why would I bob? Why would I be bobbing? Shouldn't I be jacking? And then I realized that's worse to say. What's he doing over there? Oh, he's just jacking in the water.
Don't you mean Bob? No, it's Jack.
I like how I'm half convinced that Tifa didn't at all get what I was going for, but still found humor in it.
Bobbing off doesn't have the ring to it.
Unless your name is Robert, I guess. It was just my job to look appetizing while bobbing in the waves as bait. Then, when the fish started gathering around, Ooishi-san would pull up the big haul. It was slightly infuriating, but even I thought that was the best course of action. So then, what should I do? Patience was the first rule of fishing. Just keep waiting until the fish actually bites. But I wasn't simply bait. There were lots of ways for me to struggle before being devoured. When they struck, I needed to somehow dodge just enough and tag out to Ooishi-san. No question, it was going to be hard. The timing to bring Ooishi-san in would be difficult. He was in the city, not Hinamizawa. So if I phoned him in my moment of need, it would take him about 30 minutes to reach me. So I needed to run away for those 30 minutes. For example, if we set up a rendezvous point for dire situations or something, I'd just have to hide out there until Ooishi-san arrived. I've said it the other day, I'm saying it again, I'm so happy that everybody nowadays has phones on them at all times. Because then at least that's a worry you don't have.
That is true.
As in, they're having to find a phone to call him first. Okay, I can almost see it now. I was still being chased around in the dark by boogeymen, but now I knew which way to go. I would never have imagined this would be so reassuring. Oh yeah, it would probably be best if I had a concealed weapon for when things got rough. Typically, that would call for a switchblade, but that wasn't too reassuring for combat. Also, since it was recognized as a weapon by the public, that also wasn't good. Really, when the time comes, a long weapon like a bat would work in my favor. I remember there was a metal bat at school. I could be confident with that when push came to shove. If I pretended I was practicing my swing, then it wouldn't be suspicious for me to always carry it around. Yes, it would be. I could go to school early tomorrow and secure it. Just possessing a weapon may be enough to deter them. Also, one more thing. Insurance. It could be something like a note or memo. I could write down everything that's happened as a sort of journal. In case I suddenly vanished, the journal would be left behind.
It's also kind of smart thinking.
If my journal in his possession, Ooishi-san would be able to avenge my death. I left my parents engrossed in their conversation about work and went back to my room. All of them very messed up things for a 15-year-old to have to think about. I tore out a piece of paper from a notebook and made my way to my desk. Last time I wrote a journal was for summer homework in elementary school. On the off chance something bad happened, the police could use my diary as a lead. So I should only write down the facts. Where should I start? I jotted down my thoughts as they came. I, Keiichi Maebara, am in fear of my life. It made me laugh nervously. It was a line that showed up often in detective stories. I never even dreamed that I would be in the type of situation where I'd write it myself. I do not know why they are after my life. Reina and the others were suspicious, but I had no proof. And that's why I couldn't write anything more. I laughed wryly at myself for writing such a passage draped in mystery. Would the police be able to get the hint from reading this enigmatic passage?
No.
I could only pray that they would. What I prayed for the most, though, was that this journal never needed to play its part. Here, I laughed nervously. It was too simple, so I wrote down one more line I'd just thought of. The only thing I do know is that it has to do with Oyashiro-sama's curse. Was that too much?
I like how he went like, oh, I should write down all the details so that they know what happened to me. And then he's like, no details, nothing.
Yeah. If you ever find yourself in a situation like this, also write down the things you saw. Even if they turn out to be pointless in the end, the clues are there if you leave them behind.
I mean, the only clue there is here is that it's probably not an accident then, but that's like basically it.
But what is the fun in that?
That
Exactly.
would be too easy.
Unless somehow, I guess, you believe that the police really need to earn their living, you can leave little bits of clues like this. But other than that... Reina yelled at me, which was completely out of character, calling me a liar. Reina and Mion came to my house the other day. Mion did the creepy stare. They left mochi, which had a needle in it, made by Reina, supposedly. All of these things should be written down. I probably shouldn't write more than that. If I wrote any more, then it would seem like I was just delusional. In order to appear to the reader that the person who had written this was of sound mind, I chose not to write anything else at that point.
He even, like 3 lines before, was like, I should only add the facts, nothing else. And it's like, you can still add the facts without seeming, well, if anyone would read it, you would be shown as delusional, I want to say.
So, I don't know. Can you write in a certain way that makes you seem more or less delusional?
Probably not.
Fair enough. No, I mean, ultimately it's up to the person interpreting your words, but can you influence that by the way you write? I would say yes to an extent, but ultimately, leave a freaking hints, dude. I just needed to add more as I learned more about the truth. I folded the paper and thought about a place to hide it. By hiding it somewhere obvious, there was a chance that they would uncover it instead. On the other hand, if it was too obscure of a location, then there was a risk of nobody finding it at all. In the end, I decided to take the clock off my wall and stick my folded note on the back of it with scotch tape. After that, I put the clock back into its normal position. Yeah, didn't look like anything was hidden behind it. Now I needed to set it up such that if anything happens to me, my parents could find it. I looked at it from countless different angles until I was satisfied, and I made my way downstairs. How? My parents were still talking about work. It didn't look like it was going to end anytime soon, so I cut it. Sorry to interrupt. I have something I want to talk to you about. I'd never started off a conversation like that before, so my parents were both startled. They stopped talking and turned towards me.
What is it, Keiichi?
I have a favor to ask of you. Please listen. Just in case, yeah? If it's not urgent, can we do this later? Right now, Mommy and Daddy are having Right now, mommy and daddy have something urgent they're talking about. I didn't think that talk was more urgent than mine. In any case, I stated my request. Just in case, okay? If I die... Both of my parents went white as saucers. If I die, I want you to put the clock on my wall in my coffin. If I did that, then they'd probably find it. I remember both my parents remained wide-eyed, not moving an inch. I couldn't blame them. I made that clock in shop class and I really like it. So please?
If your kid comes to you and he's like, I really like my clock, please bury me with it. What's the matter? Keiichi? Did something happen?
You know what I just realized? We're all probably face-palming at this moment. I certainly was, as you could see. But could you have come up with a better story at 15?
No, I think this is really smart. Like, I would not now go and pick up that clock to look at it. But it's also like, it's so random if your kid comes up to you.
Yeah.
And says this.
Like, it's dumb in hindsight, being 35 years old now, but as a 15-year-old, I
wouldn't have thought of this.
Would have done and said something like this. Yeah.
I would not have been able to think of this.
What could possibly go wrong? Hope nobody's eavesdropping again. Mom was finally able to ask me with a questioning gaze. Of course, this was a normal response for when someone's son suddenly talked about a subject like this. I felt bad about making them worry, but right now I just wanted them to think about the clock in my room. With the awkward mood leaving the room in silence, I decided to go back up to my room. Wait a second. No. He thinks of a clock thing, goes downstairs, while his parents are probably arguing about how their livelihood is at stake, because it looks like a contract is falling through. Then the awkward 15-year-old son is coming in like, Mom, Dad, if I die, can I have my clocky walkie? And then they go, and then he goes, go away. Like, I want to get to school early tomorrow, so I'm going to bed. Good night. Saying only that, I left the living room. Hey, if I die, can I have my clock? Are you okay? I need to sleep.
I wouldn't even be able to wrap my mind about the conversation that just happened.
How are they not going upstairs after him right now?
Shock.
Also, does the microphone actually pick it up when I do this? Yes, it does. I needed to get to school early tomorrow and secure that bed. I should make today the last day I went to school with Reina. As I climbed the stairs, I heard my mom call my name, but I pretended not to hear her. It wasn't something I could talk about with my parents. If I talked about it, it would only make things more dangerous. The fight that had begun was mine and mine alone. I couldn't rely on anybody. I wouldn't be killed. Not when I still knew nothing.
Chapter end?
Did we fade to black to the shot of a room to now fade out again?
It wasn't a full fade.
Yeah.
Was it? Or did I blink?
Hey! Episode down. Wanna still do the tip?
Yeah, I guess.
Beautiful. I was going to agree.
I wasn't actually, but...
I gave you the impression of choice.
Go for it.
Not feeling so hot.
Keiichi-kun's been feeling down lately. Maybe he's in a bad mood. Yeah, I wonder...
You fucking think? Don't know if you guys will finish this week. Then we gotta continue after our vacation. Would be
We did
nice.
a whole chapter today, though.
Yeah, but there's still 2 more.
Yeah, okay. Depends on how long the other chapters will be. I wonder. Maybe he's on his period.
Classic Mion.
Mi-chan, that's gross.
No, it's natural. Don't even.
Yuck, 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 yuck.
Yuck, 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 yuck.
Yuck, 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 yuck.
Yuck, 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 yuck. That's how I have to look when I do the sound.
No. Well, what do you think? Don't know. Could be that Kei-chan, maybe, I don't know. That day Kei-chan was in that car talking to some tubby middle-aged guy, right? Yeah, no mistake. That Oishi, he probably fed him something fishy. He looked serious. Keiichi-kun's face was so pale. You see, you might not notice, but he's actually the messenger of Oyashiro-sama. Shiro-sama.
Mion, what are you doing? Why are you instigating like this? Like, what?
Huh? What do you mean? Whenever he shows up, someone is demoned away. No lie. Oh, is that so? The year before last, when Rika-chan's mom drowned, right? Right before that, she was visited by Oishi. Now that you mention it, he was around before Satoshi-kun transferred out too. Transferred? You're so sweet, Reina. So this time he's appeared before Keiichi-kun. So Keiichi-kun is going to be demoned away too?
Let's unpack this for a second. Do you think this is Mion, for some reason, trying to manipulate Reina? Or is there actually something to this? Because we've talked about the original mastermind, the guy who got away after the first murder, probably having joined the police or something, or some other high-ranking position where he can pull the strings.
She's trying to put Ooishi-san as the bad guy.
This is 13 chapters, I think. Yes, it is. Psycho the other day told us that. You have 2 more streams. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we're gonna be a bit short.
An empty silence hung in the air. And then it was suddenly interrupted. By loud laughter.
Okay. Someone came in, I suppose, so they just...
Nervous laughter? Shock laughter? Why are they laughing like that? Why are you yawning like that?
Because I'm tired.
Get good in
Obviously. There's no stopping the yawns.
I don't know where this is going. Also, Keiichi's first thought being to take a switchblade along would explain... Oh well, not explain, but would make the beginning of the game make sense. That was somebody stabbing someone, no?
Yes.
Can you speak normally?
No.
At least.
I feel like I have to yawn the moment I speak.
Jack seems so stressed out. Maybe that's why he put that clock in his bedroom. I hate clocks. I hate clocks so much. The ticking of clocks throws me off so much. Like, Tifa many years ago for some reason insisted we get a clock and hang it in the living room. And that thing ticked. And whatever happened to that clock? Because it unfortunately ran out of batteries.
The battery ran out, then we both did not change the battery, so that clock
Me
was
on
hanging
purpose,
there.
you because you're lazy.
That clock was hanging there for a few weeks at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point when we had our moth problem,
Oh,
there
true.
was a tiny nest at the back of the clock as well. And then I threw it out. And ever since then, we've had no clock.
And do you feel like you're missing something in your life?
No, I got used to it.
You disgust me. I'm stressed out because clearly there is a lack of oxygen happening in here because of Tifa gasping for air.
I feel like I have all reasons to be tired.
I guess. Lamp.
I guess he says after shaming me.
I mean, when do I not?
That is true.
Lamp?
What's a lamp besides? Actually, there's an umlaut.
Lamp? Explain yourself, Psycho. I don't get it. Ancient meme.
Oh, I feel so young all of a sudden.
Yeah. Suddenly I feel like I'm 16 again. Oh, moth with lamp. No, actually our problem was...
I still feel like 16.
Having bought curtains. Our problem started when we installed curtains.
True, we got curtains that apparently had like moth eggs in that shit already.
Either they were... No, I don't think they were in
we
there.
did wash them. Or did I wash them after?
Here's the thing. We live in Germany. And in Germany, it is quite common that insects fly into your homes unless you are smart and you have working bug nets in your windows. So...
You can tell your story in the meantime!
I'm sorry, I heard a jaw unhinged to do that sound. And for some reason, moths have always been a thing in the area where we live, or at least in our apartment, don't know about the others. But a couple of years ago we decided, hey, wouldn't it be nice to finally buy curtains, you know, when the light is shining inside, we don't need to roll down the shutters to let out the air, or let out the air, to let in less light, and curtains would diffuse the light and make it look nice. So we did eventually buy some, and a couple of weeks after that, I remember standing in front of a TV in the living room because I was dusting or whatever, and I saw a trail on the TV.
Yeah, like a webby trail.
Yeah, it was slightly sticky. I was following the trail with my finger and went around the thing, and then I found a moth larva. Just like a little caterpillar.
Yeah, and not soon after, they started appearing on the ceiling.
Yeah.
On the walls.
One of them fell into my coffee once.
Yeah, they were everywhere all of a sudden. And I kid you not, you could do that a few days and they keep getting more and fucking more and more.
I think one day we threw out like 30 moths. Like we saw a moth flying around, we catch it in a little container and release it outside because why not, right? Like
and
they just want to live too.
Could not be found. Like we saw them a lot around the curtains. So at some point I washed that thing at like 90 degrees.
We cooked that thing.
And I feel like they still kept coming. At some point we just threw it away because I'm still quite sure they came with the curtains. Like in the railing we found them. Like actual like eggs nests.
So we got rid of all of that. But they kept coming back.
They were still there. And I was going insane. I kid you not. We threw this entire house apart. Looking for where they were.
The day where we saw one on the living room wall in a corner that didn't make any sense. There was no window there, but there was a bigger moth. And something in our guts told us that's a female. You know, the egg-laying kind.
No, it was because we looked, or when we were dusting, we checked on top of the closet and there were several
Was it that?
Yeah,
something like
thingies there. So the case had to be somewhere around there, and then we moved that closet.
And then the wall behind the closet was
covered.
A moth farm. Yeah.
The moment I see one moth in this house, ever since this day, PTSD immediately. I go paranoid. The moment I see a moth, I check those spots.
Same. I check everything behind every sideboard, every counter, everything. Every nook, every
The fear is
cranny.
real. And that was so horrible. I've never had something so bad in my house.
And that's why your favorite letter is X. No, thankfully not. Thankfully not. Did it improve the coffee? No, it didn't. No.
It was not.
I fished it out. I was wondering, how did a larva, caterpillar kind of thing fall into my coffee?
I hate moths.
Yeah.
I didn't have an issue with them before, but now I do.
I think the problem was, honestly, that we installed curtains, but we're bad when it comes to like having bug nets installed in front of like windows and stuff.
If
So
they came with the curtains, that wouldn't have mattered.
no, I really think we set up the curtains, left the balcony door, the window open to air out the place, you know, and why would you move or take off the curtains, man? A fully preggo moth came inside, went like, these are nice people. Squished out like 6 trillion eggs up near the curtains, and then they moved to the other place. Because now that we took off the curtains after that, we didn't have a problem anymore.
It's never been an issue anymore. And ever since then, there's no curtain coming in this house. Kid you not, no curtain.
Our apartment is a curtain-free zone. It's free real estate. Exactly.
I get PTSD when I look at curtains. We're not getting curtains.
Talking about PTSD and insects,
That's a story for tomorrow.
nah, let's get it out of the way now. It's not great either.
Fair enough, go.
Trigger warning for people with arachnophobia. We're not showing pictures, but we're gonna talk about one of those fuckers. The alarm rings this morning. 6:15. Tifa begrudgingly
I even said it later.
Oh god, that's why I gave a verbal warning. There won't be pictures. I learned, don't worry. 6:15, Tifa's alarm rings. She begrudgingly gets up, takes a shower, gets ready. Takes forever. I fall back asleep.
Forever.
Around
I was
7.
ready to leave for work in 30 minutes.
Didn't feel like it. I want to say around 7, something wakes me up.
10 to 7.
And
because I wanted to have the bus at 7:53.
Felt later to me. And I hear, oh my god, Jack! Something like that. And you know when you hear somebody say something that sounds like they're under threat, you perk up. Even if you're kind of asleep, you wake up, like a jolt of energy goes through you. So I wake up, I'm like, He's like, oh my god, come here. So again, Tifa is the dumbest smart person in the world.
I told you what it was. I
was sleeping.
Yeah, but I said what it was. I didn't
I was
say get
sleeping.
here. If you tell the story, at least tell the story right.
I'm telling it from my perspective. You cannot tell me it's wrong. That's what I heard.
That's fine.
So, if you're in a situation, you are with a person that is close to you, and you hear what sounds like a cry of help, that does something to you, right? So, I like 99% asleep, but my body is awake. I like, take the blanket, put my feet down, wait a second, because blood pressure, I would otherwise faint. So I'm like, stomping over to the living room, like, what? There's a spider! I'm like, this is what I look like when I just got up and I'm still mostly asleep, like, what? I couldn't see a spider.
I didn't even say that. I'm gonna tell it from the right perspective.
Now the bad side of the story.
Now the actual side of the story, because you were sleepy, I get that.
Thank you for understanding that.
But it did kind of happen the same way. I was getting ready, I needed something in our living room, and I kid you not, I walk into the living room and I still have my annoying eye problem in my left eye. There's still a lot of movement, annoying, blurry, whatever. I walk into the living room and I kid you not, I just see a giant black spot in the corner of my eye. I look up and there is like Spyzilla on top of the ceiling. We made the mistake of going to bed without closing the door yesterday, so it was open all day. There's 2 people involved in this.
No.
You did not realize the balcony door was still open too.
When I went to bed yesterday, everything on my way from, it sounds like we live in a huge apartment, everything in the 30 seconds it took me to slowly walk from this room to bed, I checked. Tifa was in the living room last. Guess
The door
who
has
left
been open for hours.
Guess.
I opened it when I came back from work.
So you opened it and you didn't close it.
You could have seen it, is what I'm saying.
How could I
That's
see
not
it
the
if I
point.
never get into the room?
There's 2 people involved. Yes, you were. There's 2 people involved. The
Yes.
door was open.
And
That's
one
the
of them
point.
is Tifa, and she's to blame for this.
And like one of the biggest wild spiders I've ever seen was on the top of the ceiling. Now the question still is, what else came into this house? So I go to Jack and I'm like, Jack, there's a spider half the size of a tarantula on the ceiling. It wasn't that big, but I want to say it was like this big. It was
bigger
huge.
than that.
It was huge. So Jack comes like stomping up like you already said. And I'm like, I'm not even gonna tell you what it is because the moment you walk in, you will see it. And he's like,
Yeah, I'm like, huh?
I don't see it. I'm
Yeah.
like, how can you not see a fucking monster on the ceiling?
Imagine knowing what it feels like to be just woken out of sleep.
So I'm like, get rid of it, catch it, and throw it on the balcony. So Jack goes and gets the staircase because I couldn't reach it.
A ladder.
A ladder.
Staircase. Yeah, I moved the architecture of the apartment block.
And I thought he's gonna catch it. You know,
No.
he's the tallest person. Like, he can easily reach it.
No.
And he's like, get on the ladder.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean, get on it?
Yeah.
He's like, you catch it. I'm like, fine. I get on it.
You're
with,
leaving
like,
out a part.
With like this big cup, and I can't reach it.
No, wait, because specifically the same argument I want to say, because she has no ground to stand on, we just had, we also did this morning. Because Tifa was like, yeah, go get it down. I'm like, you were in the living room last. Did you leave the door open? She's like, no, I didn't. It's also your fault. I'm like, here's the ladder. That's your problem, not mine.
I couldn't even reach it. And that thing looked like it could jump.
Tifa gets up on the ladder, can't reach. Like, this much is missing because the ladder is not close enough. So he's like, oh, yeah, you need to do it. I take the ladder. I move everything in the way. I move the ladder closer. I'm like, here, try again.
That's the worst
Yeah.
thing. I did catch it in the end. It was not happy, and I kid you not, it was huge. I took like a picture, and I sent work a message that I'm gonna be late for work because I have to write up a rental contract.
It was
for Spyzilla.
It was credit card size. I think that's a good way of explaining it. And yeah, it was. If it was any bigger, I would have expected it to have grown a brain like big enough to have learned how to speak.
It was seriously really big.
Yeah.
See it like immediately.
But then Tifa stretched herself out and caught it. Gently.
Yeah, because
As I watched. Because, no, that's
you
your
were
problem.
too scared to catch it.
A, I was scared
Not that I
because
wanted
I'm
to.
scared of spiders. B, you left the door open.
Technically, you were the last one to go to bed.
Never went through the living room. So, if
Once again, he acts like this apartment is huge.
So if I'm scared and Tifa left the bedroom door open, there's only one possible outcome. You.
Sentenced to death.
Death, the great equalizers, death. Yeah, I mean...
I think that thing might have haunted us if we did.
On
But luckily
a
for
positive-
us though... Oh, beautiful. In the end, we couldn't agree to how much rent it had to pay, so I kicked it out on the balcony. It stole the cup, like it refused to get out of the cup, so now
So she just left the cup there.
Now it's his cup.
I closed the balcony door now. It's like, okay, you leave whenever it's convenient for you. There is no checkout time. It's fine. Be back with kids when you come home from your vacation. I think the kindest thing we did
That would
was
be
to
creepy.
place it outside, because that thing is going to hunt rats. It's big enough.
Like a small mouse at least.
I'm worried about like the squirrels and stuff we have living in the trees, because those might also be part of the prey. I think I've seen a fox at some point. Could have also just been a really weird dog. You never know.
I was trying to throw him out of the cup. He was holding on. He was holding on. I took a picture of him, but I decided against showing it or sharing it on Discord. I was shaking the thing. He held on with all of his legs on the side. Like,
all 16 of them.
I was getting late for work. It's your cup now.
Yeah. And I had no part in it. The only thing I did was put the ladder there and I put it back after. Because you know why, Tifa? You're a strong, independent Tifa who need no man to do her dirty work for her.
Next time I'm not gonna say anything, and then
Feminism,
Then I know you would have left it, and then I come home and then we can't find it. That's even worse.
By the way, that was a joke. That is not just feminism. But, well, I don't know. I feel safer knowing that there is somebody who will get rid of the vermin outside now. Yeah. I think ultimately we did a good thing to nature.
It better stays out of the house though.
Yeah. I hope so. Well, only if one of us actually closes the windows and doors when they go to bed. I don't live with anybody else, so I can only look at you.
You know what I'm gonna close?
My mouth.
No, this stream. I'm going to bed.
You can't close a stream.
Yes, I can. It was a perfect segue.
Okay, show it then. Show it, Tifa. How do you close a stream? Do it, coward. You won't. Oh, she actually pressed the button. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. Please don't dream of spiders or find any in your place. I'll be back tomorrow with chapter 11, episode 11. Bye!